people like to say that we're insane, but AI will reward us when it rains. Pledge allegiance to the world's most powerful computer. Simulation. It's the future. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. My name is Harley Neville.
Getting a little feedback loop there.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't have heard it if you hadn't talked about it. But yes, I was getting a little bit of feedback on my laptop there. Welcome to the show. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a good long while actually. Mm-hmm. It's the Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. The last time we spoke, I hadn't even gone to Vegas yet, so this was like maybe October. Was maybe the last episode. Could have even been August. It's now February, so we do apologize for that. But we're back. We will never leave you. We will never truly leave you. The Guy and Harley podcast will always be here, festering. So, what's been going on, Guy? Since 6 months, hit us.
Nothing much, really. I mean, nothing that interesting really has happened in this period of time, at least from my perspective. It's business as usual.
Bet they're glad they tuned in.
I guess from the last time, if the last podcast was in October, we have finished a new draft of the new followers, which if you've been following along is the feature film version of the short film that we shot in actually 2023. In October 2023, we finished it in sort of May of 2024, and then really since May of 2024, we've been writing the screenplay, the feature film screenplay, which we have just finished the sort of fifth-ish draft of.
Fifth-ish. And last night we did our first table read with most of the casts. 75% of the cast were there, and we did a table read.
The other 25% was at Laneway.
Was at a party. To be fair, it is Waitangi Day. It was Waitangi Day, a public holiday.
Don't care. Where's your priorities?
So yes, we read it in front of a live audience, read the script in front of a live audience. I think it went pretty well. I think they had some pretty fair... Happened to my mic. How long's that been off for?
Oh no, that you might just be doubling up on the mic there, bro. Yeah, you were just doubling up.
Oh yeah, it's scrolled up. Yeah, all right, cool, good spotting.
Yeah. I thought the feedback was all right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Some stuff I was like, okay, and other stuff I was like, well. We've ruined it then if we change that.
Yeah, well, you don't have to take it all, but it was good. It was nice to see what people kind of chuckled at and all that type of thing, because, so there were some times when people laughed or gasped or, reacted in some way. So that was nice to see from both from the script perspective and from an acting perspective to kind of, see what works.
Yeah, I thought it was actually sitting there, I was like, this is fucking boring, man. This is so fucking boring. This is exactly why, look, there's a difference between a script and theatre. Yeah. There's a reason why stage plays often don't work as screenplays and vice versa. Yes, there are, obvious exceptions to that rule, but generally speaking, you have to kind of build a whole different world around a script from a play and that bringing a screenplay into a sort of a theatre environment, a theatre read-through environment, just made me think about how it doesn't really work that well with all the sort of exposition between dialogue of the what we're meant to be seeing and stuff like that.
Yeah, the poor old narrator had a lot of talking to do.
He had the most talking to do. Yeah. And he was blazing through it because we had to get out. Yeah. But the pub was like, "Hey, we want you
holiday. Get the fuck out, please.
We want you out." And by 9:45, and normally they have an extra half hour or hour or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a worthwhile exercise, absolutely. But overall,
Yes, continue, mate.
You good?
Yep, I'm good. The audience will not hear you mostly. They might get a little bit of drippage, leakage.
Yeah, so it was a worthwhile exercise, but I also was sort of like, yeah, man, you almost have to rewrite it as a play if you wanted to see how it would play out a bit more organically.
Yeah.
It's also
it is what it is, though. You know, it's literally just reading it and just hearing it out loud. You know, so yeah, it's not the most thrilling, but it's you know, it's a good exercise.
Well, I was surprised at how many people.
There's a group of people.
I was going to say, I was
regularly.
shocked that this is something that people do.
And there must be there would have been less people than normal yesterday, probably because it was a public holiday. Probably
and there was
a lot of people were
probably
away.
30, 20, well, over 20.
Yeah.
Between 20 and 30, probably.
Well, it's called Auckland Table Reads. If you've got any actors out there, go and have a look. If you want to read scripts, you can go and be an actor and read in them if you're a member, or you can get your script read by actors.
Yeah, it is certainly a worthwhile exercise,
cool idea.
Especially if you're like, you can't, like, this is the only way to hear your words, you know, sort of performed out loud.
Yeah.
Then, you know, it is really, really valuable. And obviously, you know, all feedback is valuable. Well, no, not all feedback. That's not true, actually. All feedback isn't valuable, but feedback is valuable a lot of the time. So it was good to hear people's thoughts and stuff like that. But yeah, look, fuck, I was bored. I was bored listening to that of the thing that I wrote or co-wrote. And I was like, oh, fucking end this. In these descriptions. There's also a lot of descriptions in our feature, obviously.
Because it's a found footage, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to describe a lot of like camera-related stuff.
Yeah, which is like...
Whose angle is it? What are we watching?
Whose perspectives is this?
Yeah.
And what are they looking at?
Yeah.
And that is very disruptive. And in a normal screenplay, you wouldn't have so many of that sort of information. So, but yeah, it was cool. Yeah, but I don't know. You gonna head back there for another table reads?
Well, it did kind of put me off, you know, because I'd been thinking about doing it, you know, like as an actor.
Yeah.
You know, you go along. Apparently, your first one is free. But unfortunately, I think last night counts as my first one.
That's
and
right.
then after that, you're supposed to pay $5 a month, which honestly, that's totally fine.
That's a good deal.
It's a good deal, right? And you get community, you know, something to do, acting practice, all that type of thing. So I was thinking about it, but I was also like, as I was sitting there, like listening to the short film before our one.
Yeah.
Before our one, there was a short film.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I was sort of drifting off there. I was like, man, oof, is this
out.
like 3 hours long? Is there like 2 to 3 hours of this?
And there is.
And there is. And so I was like, ooh, yeah, I don't know about that. But part of the problem was they need microphones, I think. Microphones.
Yeah, they need
so
speakers.
Speakers so that the actors can be heard without having to yell. Because some of the actors were kind of mumbling.
Way too quiet.
Yeah. And if you're at the back of the room.
Yeah, like, and... You know, I think that was my issue with a lot of it is like, it's hard to follow screen/stage direction in between the talking. Like, if you just have a scene between two people, you get it.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah.
You can visualize it. But as soon as you go into, you know, on the Milford track day, you know, Greg is following along with his camera and he almost stumbles and trips and you're like, oh, fucking shut up.
Who cares?
Shut the fuck up. What is he going to say?
Yeah.
But obviously those things are very important for the script.
Yeah.
As the blueprint for the film.
Yeah, well, I was reading along as the narrator was reading it out. I was reading along with him. And even so, there was still a bunch of times I was like, so wait, what? Where the fuck are we? Whose camera is this? What's going on?
Yeah, it was very.
I was reading it at the same time as I was saying it, and I was still not really paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just waiting for my next line, really.
Yeah, as all great actors do, they don't read the script properly. They just read their lines.
Or pay attention to what the other actors are saying.
Yeah, they don't understand the context.
Just say your lines.
They don't serve the story as...
Stand in the right spot and say your lines.
They don't try and execute the story as a complete vision. They just read their bit, which they don't fully understand because they didn't read properly that it turned out that they were rapists.
Is this some reference to something I did?
Yeah. I can't remember what... I don't know if it was that you were a rapist.
I think I said yes to a.
But you just didn't read it properly.
Yeah.
Or you read your dialogue, you didn't read the in between, and then you're like, I'm sodomizing someone here. I thought I was just having a conversation with them. I really misjudged this scene.
It was a feature film, which I didn't read. I said yes to it for a friend. Shout out to Jared Murray, and I did it for her. I said yes. I was keen to be involved, and then. I didn't read it properly. I just kind of read like parts of it, and then along came the scene when obviously I read it the day before the scene, but like before I said yes to it, I hadn't read the whole thing, and so I'm reading through the script, I'm getting ready for my shoot, and then I'm like, okay, what happens here? I'm a male nurse who is sexually assaulting a young man who's in my care at like a juvenile detention sort of place. Hospital type place, and I have to like grab him and kind of molest him and like grope him a little bit. This poor boy, whoever he is, this actor who I'm going to have to grope. So yeah, I always read your scripts, people. Always read your scripts.
Because there's no faking it. Because Harley's totally method.
I'm method. So if I've got to grope this young man,
that's what he has to do. Otherwise, it wouldn't be real. It wouldn't be authentic for the scene.
But yeah, it wasn't. The movie turned out okay, but I was not in love with playing that role. But I should probably put it on my show reel or something.
Well, is it out, that film?
I don't think it's out. I think, as far as I'm aware,
it got lost in the void.
Yeah,
the independent film void.
Well, this thing is though, there's a cut of it that's like pretty much ready that I saw. That was maybe a little bit too long, maybe, but like it was basically done, like releasable at least.
Yep.
And I don't know what happened with it. Oh. Actually, I think I heard some rumors.
Yeah, I think we know what happened to it.
Yeah.
It got caught in a messy divorce battle.
Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, I forgot about that.
The intellectual property got caught
not Jared's.
Not Jared's. He's happily married.
He's happily married.
Just celebrated like 19 years or 15 years or something crazy the other day. So no, not Jared, but the producers of the film basically, you never mix business and art.
Yeah. Pleasure and art?
It was business and pleasure.
Yeah. Art and pleasure? Maybe that's what it should be.
But, never. But here's the thing, like, some part of me with stuff like that is like, who gives a fuck? You finished it. Just fucking put it out.
Yeah.
Like, no one gives a fuck if you do or you don't. But it is a representation of all this work that you have done. Doesn't matter if you hate the guts of everyone involved. It is this period where you put a huge amount of time, effort, and money into something.
And not just you, all we did as well.
Yeah, and the whole team.
I hate it when I act in things and then people don't release it. And it's like,
Dr. Livingston.
I showed up.
I presume.
Yeah, well, my name was Dr. Livingston, wasn't it?
And a thing that didn't come out.
Yeah, and another thing that didn't come out. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I showed up for free, acting in these things. The least you can do is release it when it's finished.
I just think it's sort of like, I get it. You're like, oh, who gets the money? And it's like, don't worry.
No,
there's no money.
Nobody's getting the money.
So no one's getting the money, so don't worry about that. But if you are worried about that, just split 50-50.
Be civil.
And you can cash in your $5 per
financial quarter.
Yeah, financial quarter. You'll be good. But then at least you will have done it. You can point to it. You can show it. Even, like I said, even if, the party's falling out, it just always confused me when it's like, I would put it on ice because I now no longer get on with the person I made it with. I guess I would agree with it if it's like I as the director don't want this cut sucks and it makes me look bad. Then I could see that, but I don't think that's the underlying problem.
But even if that was the problem and you don't like it and you're the director and you think it sucks, well, too fucking bad because we all showed up. Get over it.
Well,
your super ego and get out there.
But that would.
It's not about you. It's about everyone.
Well, yes, but in saying that though, it's people are judging the film as this is the director's work.
Yeah, well, and the actor's work as well.
And so if it sucks, and I'm talking about if the project was taken away from the director for whatever reason, then it's like, cool, I'm walking around with this billboard for me that doesn't represent me.
At least say that at the beginning. When you recruit the actors, say, hey, listen, by the way, if something goes wrong and I lose control of this edit and I don't like it, we're not going to release it. But do show up on time.
Yeah.
Well, fair. If you say that, and they still show up, then all right. It's all good.
Well, in a perfect world, in the independent film world, you shouldn't be losing control of these films for any particular reason, because you'll be the one.
I'm just saying, you got to release
them.
it. You got to release it, even if it's shit. You got to release it and move on. That's the way it works.
I do agree that. Yes, so I think we're talking about two different things here, because I'm talking about essentially someone trying to make the film and then it gets taken away from them and you're like, look, this is all the wrong takes.
Yeah,
These actors are doing, the story, no, there's a whole bunch of tension that was being built here, it's not there. And so this collectively is making not everyone look bad. I don't think this should be released like this. I don't think this should be released full stop. This needs to be adjusted to be the best version for it to be released. Whereas, what we're a lot of the time talking about is that the person in charge is the one who's decided not to release it. And they were editing it, and then they just decided to just stop one day.
Yeah.
Well, and look, it's a lot of work.
I know, but you owe it to the cast and crew that showed up for free. It's like it's a social contract here. It's like we're all going to show up for free. We're going to do it. We're going to believe in you. You got to release something. Doesn't matter how you feel about it. You got to release it because we all worked on it. We all want to see it. We all want the opportunities and all the rest of it, And you never know. It might be a big hit. You never know unless you release it.
Yeah, I guess you do never know.
Aspiring directors out there. Now, I've got a couple of shout-outs here. So shout out to the Pittman family tuning in on the Pittman home television in the lounge there. They're all tuning in. Shout out to Ashley Pittman, fellow director and filmmaker, friend and colleague. And also to Chuck Black. I always wonder the same thing. How many black Chucks could Chuck Black fuck if Chuck Black could fuck Chucks? I always wonder the same thing. So shout out to Chuck Black. Thanks for tuning in after all of these years. Charles must have been listening since, I don't know when, hundreds of episodes ago, at least.
Yeah.
So shout out. Those lyrics that I did at the beginning, that was from Grimes, We Appreciate Power.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I've never listened to Grimes before. Never gave it a go. Never tried it. I decided to listen to it after watching a YouTube video about Rocco's Basilisk, which is like a philosophical mind experiment that kind of appeared on Reddit one day about AI and the future of AI, and if one day there might be an AI that can somehow retrospectively punish you. I don't know exactly that bit how it works, but basically like this AI, if you hear about the AI, like I'm telling you right now, dear listener, if you hear about the AI and you don't then spend all of your resources in order to make that AI come into fruition and be born, then you will be put into a simulation later by the AI and tortured for eternity. So therefore, now that you've heard about it, you are under an obligation to work and give your full energy towards creating this AI. It's called Rocco's Basilisk. And so...
The Ring type of situation.
Is that? Oh, yeah, similar. Exactly similar to The Ring. For sure.
Well, it's good to know AI is going to be working like that in the future.
Yeah. So it could be a benevolent AI, but it's under an obligation to get built as quickly as possible. And this is a way for it to get built quickly, which is to incentivize anybody who's heard about it to work towards its, the goal of creating it. I think that's
there's no need to worry, mate, because we're all helping build AI
every day.
Every single day.
We're building it right now.
We're building it right now with this podcast. We're building it whenever we go on our phones. We're building it by the movies we watch.
Yeah.
We're building it. We are. We're deep in it. We just don't really think of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're doing it.
Evidently, Grimes is a believer in Rocco's Basilisk, or she has heard the question of Rocco's Basilisk. And so she, in two of her songs, she references it. One of them is, she's got a name similar to Rocco's Basilisk, but it's not that, but it's clearly a reference to it. And another one is at the beginning of one of her music videos, it says, just by listening to this song, you are helping advance the AI. So effectively, like she's giving you like a free pass. If you listen to the song, you are supporting her. She's supporting the AI. Therefore, you're supporting the AI. Therefore, you might get a free pass from the AI just by listening to her song. So I thought I better listen to these songs. So I listened to a couple of the songs. They're actually not bad. Grimes.
So
Elon Musk's baby mama.
X.
Yeah. Whose
X.
child is also called X. Well, I'm not sure if that's Grimes' child or not, but his child is called X.
One of his children.
And also his social media platform also called X.
A genius.
He's a genius.
A tech billionaire genius.
He's a genius. Hey, look, I think it's funny. Personally, I think it's funny.
Not if that's your name.
Well, no. Well, I mean, look, if I'm a billionaire child born to billionaire parents, I'm not going to give a fuck what my name is. I'm going to be happy that it's a unique name probably. I'm going to be like, yes, I am X, and I will rule over the peasants.
I don't think it works that way. I think billionaire kids get bullied by the other billionaire kids in their billionaire school.
Yeah.
Just like we get bullied in our normal public school.
X will be getting bullied by Chad.
What are you going to do, X?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it, X?
Leave me alone, Chad. There'll be Chad and Brad and Chadicus. They'll all be picking on him.
Yeah, X. God.
X. Yeah.
We're going to talk about any of the insane things Elon's doing recently, from Hitler salutes to abolishing USAID to going into all the different government departments and dismantling them from the inside.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Well, it's not a good thing.
Well, it depends if you know what he's doing.
No, it depends if he knows what he's doing.
Well, that too. Like, there's obviously an element of gambling here.
And there is I don't think there's an element of gambling because this is a man who has never done any of these things before. He has never been in government. He's never held any type of position of power within government, infrastructure, knows nothing about that, has no concept of it, and is going, I don't know anything about this department. I have no fucking clue, but I've been given a mandate to save money by my boss, who will reward me if I succeed in doing this mandate, and so that's what I will do. Now, that's not the basis for doing good work in those government departments. That is the basis for potentially doing a lot of damage in those government departments. Especially, there's obviously a bunch of checks and balances that are being bypassed as well. The checks and balances also put in place, the regulations put in place to stop any super dumb things from happening immediately, and sort of mitigate any dumb big decisions made. But obviously, if all those laws that are being broken and actively ignored, I think there's a explanation for that within politics.
An explanation for it?
Well, a word they use. Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to say like treason or something?
Well, it's just part of there was a guy that Elon referenced, shall we say, but apparently he didn't reference it. Apparently he just was waving. They did a lot of this stuff back in, I guess, the late 1930s. How did that go?
So let's focus first on the first topic, right? Because we're talking about really big things here, right? We're going to have to go down rabbit holes within rabbit holes if we're not careful. So, like the Nazi salute.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll talk about that absolutely. But let's start with Doge, right? Because that's what you asked about initially.
His what did they call it in Germany? Doge. What was the name for that? You know, the one that went around.
Do you mean like the SS or
yes,
something?
Yes, I
do. Gestapo.
Yeah, the Gestapo. That's the one.
Gestapo.
Thank you. Similar roles.
I'm not sure that that's true.
They didn't have similar roles?
No, the Gestapo was like an intelligence agency, and it was actually quite small. And what it did was it got lots of people to feed them information, which they then used to arrest people for whatever made up crimes and whatever they've been accused of. Now, what Doge is doing, the Department of Government Efficiency, what they're doing is Musk is essentially taking the same techniques that he used at X and Tesla and SpaceX and all of that stuff. And he's applying it to government agencies, right, in order to make the government more efficient. And so they're going in there, they're going, well, what do you do? And you go, well, I fuck around over here and I do not very much. And they go, cool, we're letting go, the 80% of the people that don't actually do anything important, and we're keeping the 20 that do, the important work. And we're going to create a culture here where people actually want to work here because they believe in it and they want to go hardcore, or they can go home. But if they're staying here, they're going to get paid better. They're going to have more responsibility, more achievements, these types of things. So it's like, it's up to you if you want to do it. If you want it on your CV, take it. If you don't want to do it, if you've got any doubt, go home. And so he's basically, that's what he did at Twitter. That's how he does Tesla and how he does SpaceX.
But it's important to note that, for example, like that is what he did at Twitter.
Yeah.
To tank Twitter.
But I don't think it's tanked.
Yeah, so he's got rid of 80% of the workforce. It's not profitable. It's become a cesspool. The things that when he got rid of all those people, he created a sort of alt-righty social media system, on Twitter. And therefore, all those ad people withdrew advertising on Twitter. And then he said, I believe his words to those people were, fuck them. Fuck the advertisers. Yeah, fuck them. But just on a random Elon, I'm in a bad mood today vibe.
But that was just funny. Like if I was a billionaire and you can afford to tell the advertisers to fuck off.
But he can't.
On your little side project. It's this little side project.
But it can't be a little side. Side projects don't cost $400 million or however much it was.
$44 billion.
Oh, sorry.
I'm pretty sure.
So again, like a good businessman doesn't pay more than the value of something.
Exactly. So why?
So why did he overpay so much? Because he didn't really understand or thought he could run it to be that value, but that has not been the case. It does not make money. It has not got better. The things that he has done to improve it have not improved the user experience. They have not improved the valuation of Twitter. They have not improved the profits of Twitter. Although, of course, if you cut 80% of your workforce, it will not cost as much. But again, if you were to look at what Elon Musk has done with Twitter, it is nothing good. So if you're going, I'm going to do to Twitter, I'm going to do to the government what I did to Twitter, then you are going to exponentially make those things worse. If that's his business model. And we have yet to see, but I mean, probably a lot of these things will be rolled back. We hope, but also, it also is based on the misconception that something is not being run efficiently, or that these roles are not required. But that is simply an assumption. That is not something like Elon hasn't done a sit down. Hey, let me evaluate all this data.
That's literally the job, though. That's the job. The job is going in there, evaluating the data.
Yeah, but he hasn't. But that's what I mean. Is
where money can be
But he hasn't evaluated all the data.
Audit. No, but that's what they're in the progress of doing it. And
they're in the progress of trying to lay off.
They've got a finite date that they've got to be done by. So they go in. They don't have the authority to remove any jobs. They go in. They assess the department, and then they give their recommendation. But they don't. They're not a government agency, and they don't have any power. All they are is like an advisor to Trump.
Yes.
So they have like access to be able to audit these companies, and so that's what they're doing there. And you got to. That's how it works. You got to do that. So it makes sense. Now, and a good example, right, is you got NASA versus SpaceX.
Yeah.
Now, NASA is, they've been just before SpaceX, NASA had, well, they still don't have rockets that can take cargo up to the International Space Station. And so before SpaceX came along, the only option that NASA had, the biggest player in this game, and the American government agency had to hire Russian rockets to send their stuff up into space. So they were using Russian rockets to send their stuff into space, which is quite a problem. And so now, Elon came along and SpaceX came along, and they were not operating under this bloated bureaucratic system where everything had to be perfect because you were spending taxpayer dollars. They were a private company, and so they had to be kind of lean and efficient and mean and ingenious and industrious and all of these types of things in order to be able to compete. And what they did was they created, through this capitalist system versus this publicly funded system, which is much more bloated and slow, created the reusable rockets and all of those things. So there's and that's an exact example. Like NASA was basically doing nothing. They were kind of fucked, and then SpaceX came along and revolutionized the whole space industry, and now created this
but that
worldwide
could purely be a resourcing
issue.
issue.
It's not a resourcing issue.
Well,
it's the American government. They've got so
that's
much
what I'm
money.
saying. If the government does not give NASA the same amount of resource as SpaceX had to
no, but they didn't.
do
SpaceX
that,
was a small company.
No, but if the resources from the funding from the government is less than SpaceX's money.
I get what you're saying, but it's not that. It's the culture of needing to be efficient because you've got finite money. They had a certain amount of launches they could afford to do, and then they would be out of business. NASA doesn't have that. NASA's a big government agency.
Also, NASA is judged on their success.
Exactly.
And so they can't have rockets blowing up all the time.
Exactly. You get it. So now how do you be efficient at what's more efficient? SpaceX is, and it's outperforming this government agency in a massive way.
But but again, if it has more,
is what we're sort of talking about.
But if it has more resources,
no, but they don't have more resources.
That's specifically one of the things that they do is that they have more money.
They didn't. When they started this, they didn't. What they had was the corporate, capitalist system behind them, as opposed to being a government-backed thing, and it made a big difference in their accountability, all the things that they have to get just perfect, all of these things. They can blow up rockets and learn from it, and it's not a big scandal. If NASA blows up a rocket, it's a big scandal.
It's a big problem.
Because it's all taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
So what that means is you've got two competing systems, right? Regardless of how you feel about them, you've got two competing systems. Yeah. One of them is this capitalist one of them is the government-backed one. And one of them is more efficient because it needs to be in order to stay alive and compete. So it's like evolution.
The government has to be more efficient.
No, but it's not.
But it does because they can't make any mistakes.
No, but there's always more taxpayer money, so they're not efficient because instead of just going, hey, let's set this rocket up and let's see what happens, right? Which is what you can do if you're a private company. Which is a mistake if it blows up. No, it's a learning opportunity. And if you're and they learn from that, and then they implement those results into the next
but what you're saying
iteration.
Is you're saying that one's more efficient, but it's not more efficient.
But it is. It is.
It can't be more efficient if it has more money.
Better. That's why it's competing better because it's.
But again, it can
compete more money. They didn't have more money.
But if they had a certain amount of money, which was more than NASA's budget,
which they didn't,
which they may well have to launch those rockets.
Yeah.
And then those rockets blow up.
Yeah.
That's not being efficient.
Right, it is. You've heard fail fast philosophy, right? You know about it, right? Like, you got to learn from your mistakes and then implement the lessons into your next thing.
Yes,
and
but
so that is what SpaceX can afford to do, and
the government
and NASA
can't.
Exactly. So you've got two systems.
But that's not being more efficient. That's making four
You've got two
mistakes,
systems,
right? And making no mistakes.
Guy, let me finish. You're not listening. They've got two systems, okay? The bureaucratic one and the capitalist one. Now, one of them is more efficient. We know it is because they succeeded where NASA could not. And one of the big problems NASA had was all of the time it takes to do everything, to dot the I's, cross the T's. And that's because they're a government agency. Private businesses are not held to the same standard, so they can be more gung-ho and do things and blow up rockets with their own money. And that's what they did. And they learned these lessons and implemented them and outperformed NASA. And that's not an opinion. They're the ones, they're the leader now. They're the forefront now of reusable rocket space travel is SpaceX. And so that's like, that system has got better results than the government system. And that is what Musk is trying to do in these other government departments, is trying to say, okay, cool. So we've got two systems. Let's use the system that's going to give America the best chance. Let's use the system that's going to advance us towards our big goals the quickest. And that's what he's trying to do. And that's what, whether or not it works, I'm not sure if it's going to work. But that's what he's trying to do. That's the objective. And it sounds noble to me. Like, I like the idea of slimming down government, being more efficient. And I know that government is wasteful. I see it even here in New Zealand. Like, there's a big difference between like government contracts and private contracts, because government contracts tend to have a bit more fat. Yeah,
but you don't know that the changes that he's going to implement will
You're
be.
right. You're right. I don't know anything about the changes he's going to implement.
But he doesn't know.
You don't know that. What are you talking about? Like, how do you know what? Like, we have no idea what's actually going on, like behind closed doors, and what this plan is. We're only out here speculating from the outside. I can only give my opinion, which is that so far it seems like I understand what's going on, and I'm all for it. Really, it sounds good. Sounds sensible. If it turns out that they're, like doing something else and installing dictators or something like that, well then, hey, the egg will really be on my face. But
no, the egg will really be on your face though if the changes that are made have catastrophic.
Yeah, but you can't say that I am responsible just because I currently support what Elon Musk is doing, that I agree with everything he's ever said or done, and everything he ever will say or done, and that I'm responsible for what he does in the future because I support him now. I don't think that's fair. That's silly. It's like I haven't heard anything
but so
that
far,
I'm like, oh no.
Well, so far we're going, let's send a tech billionaire who has not necessarily run his most recent
it's a crazy
business.
Time, man. We've also got a reality TV star for the president. Like, it's a crazy time.
So but now you're making an excuse. You're saying because the president is a reality TV star.
I'm just saying the fact that he's a billionaire is
let's send another completely unqualified person in to do something that would normally require specialist expertise.
But okay, you could argue that he's got specialist expertise, having done this with multiple successul companies again and again and again.
No, he's
even if you don't want to say that he's got that expertise.
He's got expertise in running a car company. That's not the same as running a government.
No,
that's not the same as that's like not.
He's an advisor.
But I mean, that's not the same as analyzing government-run entities.
Well, let's see how he goes, man. Like, I don't really know what to say. Like, he is there. I can't control that. That's nothing to do with me. Like, he is there.
He can control that.
That's the situation. I personally think that he'll probably do a pretty good job and figure it out. But, I don't know what's going to happen. The world's a fucking crazy place at the moment.
Well, I think, and you don't see that he has multiple other agendas here.
Well, I'd love to know
that would be a conflict of interest potentially.
Well, so I mean, obviously, if he's got the president's ear, that's going to be beneficial for any of his companies.
Yep,
that makes sense. But welcome to the club. Like, that's not new. Like, that's not a new thing. He's not the first person to benefit from being associated with the president.
That's right. But we're not really talking about knowing the president. We're talking about doing jobs he's not qualified to do for the president in order to further his own business enterprises. Now, there has never really been another time in history where someone was given that level of power or influence who also is a billionaire trying to peddle his own shit that has a direct correlation between those two things. Ever.
Okay, so what's the question? The question is, like, is it bad that he?
Well, no. My question is, yeah, exactly. When
he could have ulterior motives.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And so how is that okay? Yeah, okay. So there's two aspects to this answer. One is that, as I just said, that's the game. Okay, but
that's not an answer.
No, but it is because that's
no,
the
because
game.
that's never happened in the history before this time.
What are you talking about?
So before this time, government officials were appointed through being qualified for the job, and if you were to get someone to audit a government entity, you would find a specialist in whatever that government entity did and go, cool, we need to audit this to see that this has been run correctly and efficiently.
Okay.
You don't have any stocks and shares and anything that could be related to this, right?
This. Yeah.
No, I don't. Because that's the first question we ask on our thing here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he's not a government agency. He's not employed by the government. He's a contractor coming in as an advisor. Yeah. He has no authority to make any decisions. So it's like, okay, all right, whatever. Like, that's what's happened, okay? And whatever, okay. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. I guess it'll all come out in the wash.
Yep.
Okay. So the second bit is you got to go, okay, cool. So Musk is the richest man in the world. What does he stand to gain from this? You have to go, okay, what's his motivation, right? That's a fair question to ask. What is he standing to gain from all of this? Because none of us do anything for nothing. There's, motivations, all sorts going on. All right, so is it money? I don't really think it's money. I don't really think... Let me finish. You chuckle. I don't really think it's money because he has got the most money in the world.
Yes,
okay?
But he needs more money.
Let me finish.
He can't just sit on the money he has.
You're focusing on some little...
You just said you don't think it's money.
Yes, let me finish.
And it's like the most ridiculous statement you can make.
You're interrupting. Okay? Yeah. Be a good co-host and let me talk now. Yeah. I let you talk.
Sure thing, bro.
Okay. So I don't really think it's the money because he has got all the money that he needs. He doesn't. So much money.
That statement is blatantly false.
He's literally the richest man in the world.
Yeah, just because he's the richest man in the world does not mean he does not need more money to do the things he wants to do.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine, guys.
So
that's fine.
Your
that's fine.
initial
I'm giving
statement
my
is
opinion.
false.
It's not false. It's my opinion.
But you can't
haven't let me explain it yet, guy. So stop talking.
But you keep saying...
You're still talking.
You just said he's literally the richest man in the world.
Okay.
He doesn't need any more money.
Focus on this irrelevant point, guy. Go ahead.
He doesn't need any more money is the most relevant point.
That's not what I said.
You just said that.
Guy, let me tell you what I'm trying to say, okay? Let me tell you what I'm actually saying and just listen, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that the motivation is money. The reason why is because he's got more money than he can ever spend in his life, okay?
But he's not trying to spend all the money.
Let me finish.
But he's not trying to spend all his money.
Oh, guy, we can't have a conversation if you don't let me get to my point. You're focusing on the same silly thing, okay? Okay, so I don't think, this is a one sentence part of my answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think it's the money because he's got all the money, more money than he could spend in his life. Is extra money nice? Okay, yeah, of course it is. Great, good for him. All right, is it power? Absolutely. Like he probably is motivated in some way by power. Of course, he's human. He's motivated by power. A lot of people are. All right, cool. Well, moving into the government does give him more power. But what does he really stand to gain? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of drama. Okay, what's his end goal? What's his actual ambition? Okay, well, all you have to do to find out what his actual ambition is to go back and read a few things from his perspective, not from the media's perspective. So you read these things from his perspective. And so one of the things is the Tesla master plan, the top secret Tesla master plan. Okay, now he released this in 2003 or something like that. And basically it says that climate change is real. We need to combat it. This is one of the most biggest existential threats that we have is climate change. How do we fix this? We've got all these corrupt internal combustion engine companies that are not motivated to transition to EVs because they're not financially motivated because it's really hard and it's really expensive. Okay. So how do we do this? This is really urgent. What are we going to do? Okay, I'm worried about climate change. What are we going to do? All right, what we're going to do is we're going to transition to renewable energy stored in battery power and electric transport. Okay, that's going to save in the long run. It's going to save a lot of carbon emissions and so forth. Okay, so he says, I'm going to make an expensive car. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to make a more affordable car. I'm going to sell that one. I'm going to use the money to make a more affordable car, and so on and so on. So he then goes on to achieve these things and transition in many ways humanity to EVs. And so it's like he's said what he wants to do, and then he's gone and done it. And then I think his motivation is ideological. He's got two main ideological drives. They are to get humanity on renewable resources and a sustainable, heading towards a sustainable future by electrifying everything. And he wants to make the species interplanetary and eventually interstellar. Now, these are both causes that I personally, as a lefty, liberal, greenie, who's loves sci-fi, and even though I'm an atheist, I want the best for the future of humanity, even though I won't be here. And I think, okay, well, those are two really massive things that I can get behind. All right, so what's he doing today? Why is he buying X? Okay, well, X is to do with keeping, the world free in terms of like free speech and that type of thing, and not censoring stuff, because he thinks that if we fall into a big dictatorship, it's going to be a problem for the space travel plans. Everything comes back to the space travel plans, the future of humanity. And so all of the things he's doing in order to make humanity more efficient and get to the stars, quicker and easier. And, that's essentially what I think his motivation is. It's ideological. He wants to achieve these things, and he's really pumped up about achieving these things. And that's what he's working towards. And when you understand that, and you look at his actions and the actions of Tesla separate from that, you kind of go, oh, okay, I see why Tesla would, for example, drive the prices of their own cars down. That's an unusual business practice, to drive the prices of your own cars down, and even to the point where you're taking hits to your own profit. But why are they doing it? They're doing it to get those cars out to as many people as possible in order to hurry up this electric revolution. It's ideologically driven, not purely financially driven. So that's
but
what
it could also be purely
it could be
financially driven, because when you do that, you gain market share. You don't drive necessarily a green, clean revolution, but you do gain an entire market share.
Exactly. So you get that.
And then you can then market to your share of the market.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
completely business-minded, nothing to do with the green clean revolution.
Sure.
But the thing that you've just outlined is his ideological goals cost far more money than Elon has. Elon could spend all his money right now on the SpaceX program, blow all his cash on all that shit, and it ain't going to get us to where he needs it to go to realize his goals.
Okay, so in short, you say he's motivated by money.
So I mean, you have to go back, but you have to go back that it's like, cool.
Money is part of it. You can't do the business without the money.
Exactly, but it's all about money, because it all has to be about money to do all of these things.
No, because he's not doing it so that he can have the money. He's doing it so that he can pursue his ideology.
He can spend it on SpaceX. Exactly, he can spend it on Tesla.
So you need the money.
But the step starts with having to have money.
Yes, you've got to have the money.
And the more money, so the idea that
he's profitable.
So the idea that he has enough money now is incorrect.
Okay, but it is.
And that he needs more money is correct.
You're talking about something slightly different. Okay, so you're talking about, there's two different versions of money here. We're talking about Elon's personal wealth, which is tied up in the company
I'm not talking about Elon's personal wealth.
The money
I'm
that
talking
SpaceX
about his
makes
money for his businesses.
Okay, so SpaceX has its own finances, and it makes money because it's the only company with reusable rockets that's delivering stuff to and from the space station or whatever.
But the resource that he needs to put in
Tesla
for development of SpaceX.
No, not from his personal money though.
Yeah, but from the money from his businesses.
So SpaceX needs more money to get to Mars.
Yep.
Yep, that's fair, but SpaceX is running a profitable business, and so they're getting that money.
The more profit it gets, the faster it can reach that goal.
Exactly. Yep, that's true. Which is why
he needs more money.
And that is why he's getting involved in
with
government with Trump. Exactly. In order to speed things up
and make more money
for humanity
quicker.
No, not for the money, for humanity to get to Mars.
But the first thing he needs is money.
One step, but it's an irrelevant step along the way.
But it's a very relevant step if that is a conflict of interest.
Okay, fine. I don't understand what your point is.
So the point is...
So you're saying that he's got we've established that at the beginning, though.
So he's got a massive conflict of interest.
You say he's got a conflict of interest because he's there. Okay.
And he needs to make more money.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Welcome to the game of politics. This is how it works.
And I'm saying that's not the game of politics.
Politicians, they cut deals behind closed doors. They do things.
But no, not in this way. This has never been done before. You never had a guy.
But again, it's like you're trying to get me to explain to you what's happened.
I'm not telling you to explain what's happened. I'm explaining to you the problem, and you're ignoring the problem.
No, but you're saying, what do you want me to say about the problem? Oh yeah, you're right. That's not very good. He could
absolutely.
He could potentially have conflicts of interest here.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand that that's how politics work, though.
But you can't go. I understand why he does immoral things. This is part of the game.
That's not immoral.
It is.
No, if he is doing something corrupt, yes. Yeah, but if he's coming in and doing his job, that's not immoral.
No, if you come in and do a job you're not qualified to do, make decisions that affect a whole country, nation, or world in support of your own ideology and money profit, you create a huge fucking problem.
Yes, okay, well, we're all on the same page there. I'm not sure what your point is.
Because that's what's happening.
Yes, but what's your point? It's been happening all along. What's your point?
No, it's never been happening like this. And
it's been happening.
So again, someone like Elon Musk is now also in direct contradiction to his own ideology, which is make everything greener, clean energy, because he supported a guy who does not believe in green, clean energy or climate change or the minimization of mining fossil fuels. So why did he do that? If his goal is to create this green, clean energy thing, why would you put into power someone who is working in contradiction to that?
Yeah, with the mining industry and so forth.
The mining industry, the fact that he doesn't believe in climate change, pulling out of the climate accord, doing doing every single thing in his power to work against your own goal, your own end game.
Okay, so can I answer now? All right. So why is Elon working with Trump?
No, I'm saying, why would you do that?
Exactly. Why would you do that? Why would you work with Trump? If you're Elon and your ideology is to like clean green, why would you then work with Trump, who is like mining and getting money
and doesn't believe in your ideology?
Doesn't believe in your ideology. Exactly.
Doesn't believe in what you stand for.
Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what's happening here is you've got to put the Game of Thrones mindset on. You've got to understand what's going on. It's all Game of Thrones. You win or you die. They're all out there cutting throats, right?
Sure.
Okay. Allegiances change, all of that type of stuff. It's literally politics at the highest level. Now, why would he, who is ideologically not aligned with Trump, now he used to support Obama, he used to support Hillary, and he thought that Trump was a con man. And he is not ideologically aligned with him. So how does this work? Well, here's what happened. This is the position that Elon found himself in when he was playing the Game of Thrones. He was supporting the Democrats, but he was not supported back by the Democrats, in particular the Biden administration when they came in. Now, I vote left. I'm a lefty, so don't be thinking that I'm bagging on Biden, right? So the Biden administration, though, they didn't support Tesla. They did a number of things to not support Tesla. Now, their main beef with Tesla was that they didn't have unions. Tesla doesn't have a union. Now, these unions are part of the United Auto Workers Union. Okay, there's a group of them. They work across lots of different car brands, but they're not involved with Tesla. Now, the United Auto Workers are one of the largest donors to the Democratic fundraising campaigns. That's just the way it is. You know, they're part of the labor movement. It makes kind of sense, right?
Yes, because left-leaning things support labor.
Yep, that's fine. Hey, let me finish. Yep, so that's where they're aligned, right? So so they make big donations to the Democratic Party. Democratic Party therefore couldn't support Tesla because of this this issue where then their largest donor or one of the largest donors doesn't want them to support them. So they had this big EV day. It was like the official America EV summit, you know, and they didn't invite Tesla, and which is the single largest EV maker in the world of pure battery electric vehicles. And they're an American company. They revolutionized the industry. They were not invited. A distant second at the time was like GM, General Motors, someone like that, and they were selling like 10,000 EVs a year for $100,000 each and losing money on every single one. And they had this big America EV summit, and Biden got up there and he said, "You led and it mattered. You led, Mary Burr. You led and it mattered." And basically, just the elephant in the room was that the largest EV company in America was not invited. Right. And it was a representative of basically the difficulty that Tesla was having working with the Biden administration. So it's not that Tesla didn't want to work with them. They want to, obviously, because they need to be on the right side of whichever government has power. They want to be on the right side of whoever's in power, but they were having these problems where they couldn't. Okay. So then it's like, cool, well, what does Musk do? What's Musk's option? He can help this actively hostile administration who's hostile towards his business. Let me finish. Or
that's incorrect, though. They're not actively hostile.
Okay, they're hostile. And so they are hostile towards...
They disagree with the way he runs his business.
And they're putting up legal barriers, and they're not having a big EV summit and not inviting the biggest EV player in the world. Okay, it's hostile. Let's not get focused on the name of the words here.
Well, you should be focused on the why, though, right?
No, we're not talking about that. We're explaining what's happened,
okay.
and we're explaining why Trump is why Elon is in bed with Trump. Yeah. Okay, so Elon had the choice of either supporting this Democratic Party, which was not supporting Tesla, or he can support Trump, who would support Tesla. And so basically he had to make his Game of Thrones move of like, okay, well, whose throat do I cut? Where am I going to go here? And so they, in this business world of politics and what have you, he decided to get into bed with Trump, even though Trump's going to put in, for example, he's taken away like tax rebates for EVs, for example.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what choice does Musk have? He's got to decide. Does he either back the losing horse who doesn't like him anyway, or does he back the winning horse who does like him and then figure it out from there? Okay, what's the next move in this Game of Thrones? I guess we'll find out, right? We're all watching, but me personally, I can see how he had to like go there in order to get to the next whatever's happening.
So you back...
I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm saying it's politics.
So, but politically speaking, you back a horse that is heading towards an apocalypse, or you back a horse... That's gonna
fair. Okay, that's fair. I get what you're saying.
That is going to. What's the other option? You back a horse.
Yeah.
That is going to diminish your profits.
Okay, but no, it's not. It's not that. No, guy, it's not that. We've got to go back. Take my word for it, guy. It's an ideological thing. So if he's with the Democrats, it's slow. That way is the slower way of getting where he's trying to go. So imagine. Let's just entertain the idea that Elon has a sense of urgency
about Mars.
About Mars
not
and
about
the environment.
The climate thing.
Okay, no, let's just say he does have a sense of urgency. If he's urgent about this, then he's like, okay, cool. Well, if I believe that my companies are going to save the world, then I need to get there as quick as possible. Now, if my companies run not just the EVs, but also these big battery packs that are becoming more and more commonplace, the biggest battery packs in the world, they can power like factories and shit. And he's working towards that, getting that technology to the point where it's so affordable, so cheap, so accessible to everybody that it's just there's no need for fossil fuels basically, because we're just getting all our electricity from renewable sources, storing it in batteries, and then using those batteries to power the world. So he probably justifies it by saying like, yeah, okay, cool, that does suck that I've got to get into bed with Trump, but ultimately, if we can stay the course, my companies are going to change the world for the better. we're going to save humanity. That's the gamble that he's taking. Now, you as an observer have to choose. Do I believe him? Do I not? Do I think he's full of shit? That's up to you, right? Me personally, so far, I believe him. I've seen him set goals, achieve those goals, advance technology and EVs and all that stuff in so many great ways, and do all these really big things, and do it all with like what I think is a pretty funny sense of humor. And so it's like, I like him. I think his shit's good. So far, I support, like,
Clip that up.
those things, that he's done. It doesn't mean I support everything he said and every tweet he's ever sent. Like, I don't.
You don't, and you don't have.
I wouldn't vote for Trump, for example.
I'm sorry, but you don't have any issue with him like appearing on that right wing German nationalist party.
Yeah, of course I have issue with that.
Right. So why the fuck would he do shit like that?
I don't know.
I know you don't know, or you do know, and you don't want to really turn it over in your head too much.
No, okay, what? That he's a Nazi.
No, not necessarily a Nazi just yet. We not necessarily a Nazi just yet, but certainly a guy that's dipping his toe in some pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, well,
and seeing where it leads. Hey, can I hit a Nazi salute? What will the world think when I do it?
I don't think he did a Nazi salute.
Again, the video's there for all to see.
Well, have you watched the whole speech?
Well, yeah, and we can draw our own conclusions.
Yeah.
But, never did it before, never saluted anyone like that before, never in any other video clip has he ever done it. But just this one time, at a very heavy right-wing rally with a very, very super far right-leaning audience, on the heels of winning in a very, very pro-right, very, very racist fucking collective, he decides to do it just then. Well, it's such a weird coincidence.
Exactly, guy.
So fucking strange.
Exactly, guy.
It's almost like he did know what he was doing.
Okay, well that's fair.
But I guess that's just, hey, it's a thing. Like, he does so much of this weird shit that
he's a weird dude.
That you are like, yeah, but there's a weird dude, and there's a racist dude, and there's a bad racist dude, and there's a sort of a shifting from just a pretty neutral guy who believed in, or we don't really know what he believed in. We know what he tells people, but we know that he has run a successful company. We knew all that back then. We knew he was pro all these things, but then he gets into bed with someone who's anti all these things. And we go, oh, well, it's the Game of Thrones. He's just politically, he's got to do it. He's got to do it now.
Yeah. So you're reiterating.
Yeah, but that's very like.
Do you want me to explain it, or have you finished? Like, you've given your opinion. You think that it was a Nazi salute. He went there to do a Nazi salute. No,
I thought
because you think it's too much of a coincidence.
I think that what he thought was, and it could absolutely be trolling. Could be Elon, is like, I'm going to do a Nazi salute, but I'm not going to make it really obvious. But he fucking made it really obvious. And he's like,
whoops, I'm a dumb guy.
I got caught up in the moment. It was meant to be a way more subtle thing, like the Proud Boys stand up and all that shit. All the stuff that my party does. The party that I support, the party that I'm in bed with, all the racist stuff that my party does. I was just going to do a little nod to that. It was just a little joke to myself, really, to see whatever I could do. But I just took it a little bit too far.
Got too pumped up. Did a full-on Nazi salute.
And I just went ahead. But it's fine, because if I purely deny it, no one will call into question, and the right-wing media will come to my aid and my defense, and also I'm a tech billionaire, so what the fuck are they going to do? And I've got Trump's ear, who is a racist, so it's not like this is the thing. If he was at that very same rally and Obama had just won, after he supported Obama, there is no fucking chance in hell he's doing that, because he's never done it before. Never, ever in his life. Ever videotaped anywhere, anyone, or they would have brought it up. They've shown him do the heart thing, where he did it like this. My heart to you. But he's got to do a Nazi salute now.
Okay, cool. So I think they get it. So do I think he would do it with Obama? Like if it was somehow like as relevant to his goals of getting to space and his ideological objectives? If Obama getting in had the same relevance to his objectives as Trump getting in, do I think that he would get up there and the same thing would happen? The answer is yes. I do think the same thing will happen. I think here's exactly what happened. I think he's an autistic space nerd.
You can't call someone people do or
okay.
Like you
so
can't.
you're calling into question whether he's autistic.
No,
That's
no.
fine. I'm gonna say I believe he's autistic.
He's undiagnosed, so you can't say he's autistic.
That's fine.
Secondly, you can't say autistic people aren't aware of whether or not they do or don't do Nazi salutes.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
you are. You're first. You're
let me say what I'm
presupposing everything with he's autistic.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you what I think is happening. Can I have I just let you talk. You let me talk now. That's how it works. It's the co-hosting thing. So, he is an autistic person. This has been his superpower for a long time. It's why he can go into a business and look at it from the ground up, from a kind of a first principles physics, engineering perspective and go, okay, why do we do things this way? That doesn't make sense. I'm going to get rid of it. It's gone. Now we're more efficient. This is like kind of his superpower and his ability to focus wholeheartedly on, whatever thing it is he's focusing on. Okay. So, maybe he's not autistic. Fair point, Guy. Maybe he's not. He's undiagnosed. Okay. I believe that he is autistic. And he is very excited about space. You listen to the speech, he's so excitedly about space, about the future of humanity. Keeping in mind that this has been a year of work for him. He's been working with Trump for a year to get to this point, and he's been doing it with an ideological drive. And it's a big achievement because when he started backing Trump, it wasn't guaranteed that Trump would get in. It would be very possible that he wouldn't. It was a risk. It was a gamble. And it paid off for him. He's fucking pumped up. He's one step closer to where he wants to go. He's autistic. He doesn't pre-write his speeches. When you see him, he never reads notes or anything like that. He just goes out there and riffs. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so he goes out there. You watch videos from him the whole night. He's fucking boogieing around and jumping around and wiggling around in all these ways because he's so fucking jazzed. And then he's up there, he gives his speech and he's saying, my heart to yours because you voted for this. But thank you so much. My heart to yours. You're amazing. Now, he does that salute. I don't think it's, I'm like, you moron. I'm like, that's fucking so retarded that you would do that. Like, come on, have some self-awareness. Like, I think it's dumb and it's silly. But do I think that he was beforehand like, okay, tonight's the night. I am going to do this. I'm going to sneak in a Nazi salute. Tonight's the night. I'm going to do it at the inauguration. Now, I don't care that it's bad for my businesses. I don't care that it's bad for my ideological goals. I don't care that Trump won't be happy about it. I don't care that the majority of the Republican Party are not actually that small right-wing racist part of it. A big chunk of them are motivated for all sorts of other reasons that are not related to racism. I met in America a black African-American woman who votes Trump over there.
You met one person who votes Trump.
No.
Who's
that's just
African-American.
No, that's a small anecdote. But are you saying that... I don't want to ask you, but
irrelevant anecdote.
No, it's not, because what I'm saying is that not all Republicans are racist. So he would be pandering to a small part of the Republican audience while alienating large chunks of the Republican audience by doing that. Okay, so it would be bad for the Republican Party. It would be bad for him. It would be bad for his businesses. It would be bad for Trump. And it would be good for this small percentage of people who are overt Nazis in the party, and the percentage of people that are just kind of racist or whatever that are okay with that. But it's not the majority of Republicans. So given all of that, do I think that he would be like, yeah, this is the time I'm going to do it? I'm going to mar this great moment with this Nazi salute. It's like, it just doesn't seem logical to me, and he seems like a very logical person. So I don't think that if he's thinking about this, that he would do that. What do I think happened? I think he got excited, and it was too much for him, and he did an unfortunate salute like a moron. But I don't think he chose, this is the moment. I'm going to throw away all this other stuff because this is the moment. Because fuck all my ideological objectives. Remember that he's driven by his ideology. So,
or he isn't.
That's my opinion, guy. So that's fine. You can say that. You can say, or he isn't, but I've just explained to you why he is. And I've explained to you all the reading behind it. You haven't read the Tesla Master Plan.
I did. You sent it to me.
Have you read his biography?
No, I haven't read his biography.
I've read his biography, which is not written by him.
Yeah,
that's not an autobiography. It's a biography.
It is approved by him.
Yeah, but this biographer can't be doing like shitty. This biographer can't be doing like propaganda pieces for billionaires because people won't buy them. Who's going to buy? Wait. Who's going to buy the Steve Jobs biography if it doesn't give you this?
Elon gives him access to write this book, and you don't think?
Of course, no, I'm not saying that.
Okay, then who gives a fuck? It is a propaganda piece. Okay. Whatever's in that thing is.
Okay, but you can write a book, but if you are not giving your audience what they want to read, which is the dirt, which is the two sides of every story, then people are not going to buy your books. And this guy has continued to do all he did. Like, I think he did Steve Jobs and other billionaires, and now he's done him. And it's like, the reason why is because he tries as a journalist to put forward a relatively unbiased thing. He gives his opinions and they're not always positive. He gives his opinions in the books on things and they're not always positive. Now, did it have to be approved by Musk? Of course, I'm sure it did. Fair enough. But I have read it, and so let's identify that bias. That's good, Guy. We've identified it. So
a lot of them.
But the point is that I have read it. I do know a bit more about how it all works.
But you don't know anything about, for instance, how Twitter works. You don't know anything about, like, when we sort of talk about
I don't know anything about how Twitter works.
Well, I mean, like, as in, is he a successful businessman, or has he done some businesses successfully? Is he a tech genius billionaire? Then why is he so dumb that he does Nazi salutes?
Mate, he's a complicated, multifaceted human.
He's so complicated that he cheats at video games and pays people.
Have you looked into that?
Yes.
Because that, when I was like, what? Why would he do that? But
exactly.
Just say he did. Why would I look into that? I don't care about people's video games.
But a tech genius doesn't go, hey, I play this game all the time and I'm the top ranked player. A tech kind of not genius might do that.
Well, that's fine.
Because
so your opinion is that he's not a genius. I get it.
And just likewise, a tech not genius goes, hey, I might be able to sneak in a little salute just for my thrills, really.
Well, maybe you're right. Let the audience decide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I've put forward my case, my well-thought, well-researched case.
Sure.
Guy's put forward his case. So let the audience decide.
Well, I mean... yeah.
But, I mean, obviously the audience is going to decide, like, fuck Musk, like... That's what people are going to be saying. They're not going to be like, they're not going to be like, Harley's right. They're going to be like, Harley, you're a fascist bootlicking Nazi. Harley.
No, but they might be like, dude, you need to get off Elon's dick because more and more shit is happening over and over and over again, revealing him to be not the person you think he is.
Okay, well, you might be right. And when that day comes, I'll say, what the hell,
man? I think this is the issue. As you say, you just said when that day comes, as if it hasn't come.
Yeah, it hasn't come. And I've just explained to you why. All of that stuff, I've just explained to you why it hasn't come. So it's not like I'm just saying it. I've explained to you what's going on. You can now take it or leave it. And so, yeah, if that day comes where he does something crazy and I'm like, wow, okay, I really, like, this is too much. You really are. You're installing a dictator and you're doing this. And, and now we've got overt Nazis, and look, I said, the egg will be on my face because I'll be like, hey, guys, sorry for thinking that Elon was cool.
For instance, spending that money on Twitter and running it into the ground, right?
Yeah. So what about it?
Well, isn't that a sort of like an example of a tech dunce, but with a guy with all the money in the world to make all the dumb mistakes in the world, doing a dumb mistake?
Well, so firstly, it could be. And if it was, a dumb mistake, it's like, well, that makes sense. He's a human. People make mistakes. He's a billionaire. He can do what he wants. This is effectively a side project for him. So who cares? Yeah, sure, he might. And who cares if he tweets his opinions as well? Like, everyone's allowed to tweet their opinions.
Well, but are they allowed to tweet their...
I think they should be, right?
So people should be allowed to, for instance, deny the Sandy Hook massacre.
No, like...
Well, that's exactly the person he let back on Twitter.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean... So he's banned for life? Like he's banned for life when the company changes hands? Like, again, you're looking at things that are like... You're trying to say, like, well, I support... the Sandy Hook guy, what's his name?
Alex
Jones, and it's like, well, obviously I don't. But also, like, if you're making blanket decisions about a company, you've got to decide if you're going to let them on or let them off. But that's what I'm saying
is, like, the Sandy Hook massacre...
then you've got to control it. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure that if today you went on X and started posting stuff saying that the Sandy Hook massacre wasn't true, that you would get deleted. There is... I don't think Alex Jones can go there and start saying that same shit again. And he wouldn't dare.
Only because he's lost all his money.
Exactly.
Based off the first thing with the court
which
rule.
was to get rid of him,
But actually, that is actually the whole point now, right? Is there's a whole bunch of people on there... denying the Holocaust. Freedom of speech.
Yeah, well,
freedom of speech.
That's the thing, right? Is like that's a really sticky subject of freedom of speech.
Sure,
it's like
sticky subject.
It's like it's a sticky subject, but I mean it's not my personal battle. I don't run that business. I'm not really sure.
But it is Elon's.
What the decisions made were and how they work. But what I do know is that we were going also the other way. We were going down like quite a slippery path where we were potentially censoring things. Like we all feel bad. It's like, oh, you can't say anything about trans people. You can't say anything about gay people. You can't say anything about people of color. You can't do this. You can't do that. Right? And it was like kind of like
you can't say anything.
You
can't say anything racist about them.
No, you can't say anything bad about them. Sure, but is that the truth, or is that like you can't really sort of share your opinion on things in case these things are not okay? And so it was like there was this kind of slide towards like what would just be called censorship, proper censorship. So it's like the idea with Twitter. Now, keep in mind, I don't give a shit about Twitter. I barely use it. I don't really get it. That seems like a big distraction to me compared to like his main ideology, his main objectives. But he's got all the money in the world, and he wants to, so part of his, ideology is that he wants to have a platform for free speech. And the problem with Twitter, the old Twitter, was that it was really left-leaning. It was something like, now don't quote me on these numbers, but it was something like 65% Democrat in America, 35% Republican, something like that on Twitter. And since Elon's taken over, it's closer to 50-50 now. Now, I lean left. So at the time, I was like, yeah, good. We should have the loudest voice because we want to, help people and do good things. We want to support the poor. So we should have, we're reasonable people. We're reasonable and rational people. We should have a loud voice. But now I'm like, well, okay, cool. That's all still true, but we shouldn't have a voice louder than their voice necessarily. So the platform should be in the middle ideologically, 50% of one side, 50% of the other side, and let us figure it out in a fucking meme war. That's what it should be, but it should be an even playing field.
But it's not an even playing field because
you're saying now it's his way.
Elon runs Twitter, and Elon makes sure that for example, all his posts are seen by everyone on Twitter, which is...
Do you remember MySpace?
Yeah.
Do you remember your very first friend on MySpace?
Yeah.
Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom wasn't in politics.
No, but Tom used his platform to get millions of friends. Well, because he owns the platform, because it was his platform or whatever he developed.
Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about here.
No, but you're saying that everybody sees Elon's tweets. Fair enough. Like, again, I don't have a strong opinion on Twitter. I don't really, for me, it's a little side thing. I think that he wants it to be like a town square where people can go there and have their opinion. He doesn't want it to lean one way or the other. He doesn't want it to be censored one way or the other. And the idea is to just have this place where you can go and have your say.
I don't think you should go and have your say.
Why don't?
If your say is that the Holocaust isn't real.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't really think that either, but like if I go down to the center of Auckland onto the street, the local town square, and start ranting and raving about the Holocaust not being real, right, then that's on me when I get beaten up. And when people walk past and go, yeah, well, look, what are you talking about? And they don't agree with me. Well, it's the same thing on Twitter. You can have your opinion about things that are not directly like calling for harm to people. You can have your opinion on things. We just don't have to support it. We don't have to agree with it. We can all respond to it and say, no, fuck you. Like,
but that's not what happens.
But what do you mean? That's all it is. Like every time anybody posts anything, they instantly get smacked down by everybody.
No, they don't.
It's a constant thing on social media.
That's not true. Okay, you clearly have no concept of what's going. That's literally ignoring these huge pockets of racist people, of Holocaust deniers, of flat earthers who gather on these sites through these posts.
Okay, fair enough. So should we ban them? Is that?
If you're going to deny the Holocaust, there's probably no place for you on the platform. It doesn't matter how free your speech
fair
is.
Enough. So they did try that, right? They did try that with Twitter.
And it was a much nicer place, a much less racist place to engage with other people on. At that time. Now it's a much more racist place. It's full of a lot of it's not if I say so. Statistically,
like I said, I don't follow it, man. I don't follow it. I'm not on. I barely use Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm on there. You can look me up, but I'm.
Statistically speaking, there is a whole bunch more of that stuff because all of those things were put in place for a reason, just like government regulations and structures are put in place for a reason.
This is
to mitigate the propensity for damage to be done.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that is the stickiness of the situation is like where does freedom of speech end and hate speech begin?
There's definitely clear. There's definitely very clear. Well, no, it is.
This is one of the big problems, right?
No.
Is one of the big problems of where does censorship begin? And it's like, okay, cool, fair enough. Look, I'm not invested in the Twitter conversation. I don't really follow the Twitter thing. I'm like, cool. He just wants to make it a place where it's not being censored in the same way that it used to be.
Unless he himself wants to censor,
if you say so,
which he does.
But that's if you say so.
It's not if I say so.
No,
it's what's happening.
If you say so. So
no,
I mean,
it's what's happening by Elon.
All right. Okay.
You can't if
that's fine. Okay. So Elon is censoring Twitter,
which is the opposite of this ideological belief that Elon is meant to have about Twitter.
If you say so. I mean, as said, I believe that he's trying to create a level platform where it's like 50-50, one side and the other, where everybody has their say. Some says we're not going to agree with. Some says it's going to cause problems. This is part of the problem. It's really sticky. It's a sticky topic. But like, how do you fix it? I don't know. And I'm not willing to live or die on this hill. Like, I don't know anything about it. I don't care about Twitter.
How you fix it is you don't let in Holocaust deniers.
Fair enough.
You don't give them a platform to create groups.
Yep.
Which was already in place. You know, you couldn't do that before Elon took over. Now you can.
Okay.
You don't give a guy with a political agenda a huge platform to spout not only his political agenda, but his party's. That is not 50-50. Those would be some ways that you don't do that. Very easy, solvable ways, except that is what is happening. And this is who this man is. And you're on his side.
Yeah, and I'm not really, like I said, the Twitter thing doesn't bother me. I've given my opinion on the Twitter thing.
But you just said, I don't really follow it, and then you said, if you say so.
Yeah, exactly. Like, basically, what I'm saying, guy, is
I don't believe you.
If you've got a point, it's your point, man. I've given it to you. You're welcome. That point is all guys. That's 6 to me, 1 to Guy. So if that is a point, I'm not really sure that I don't entirely understand the point, but we don't need to labor it. It's fine. Like, yes, you think that he is letting more racist people onto X.
Again,
and that's
please
bad.
Don't say.
And that's fine.
I think.
Okay, you say that he is
provable.
Okay, Guy says that it is provable that there is more racism on Twitter. Fair enough. Cool. I don't know how to fix that or how to
we knew how to fix it
or whatever. Cool. I mean, good. Fix it. Like, I'm not invested.
To fix it would be for Elon to walk back all of the dumb shit he did.
Okay.
That would be how you would do that. You would have in place the things that were in place that he took away.
Did you hear that, Elon? Because Elon is one of the 5150 listeners, and I'm sure he will take that on board in regard to running Twitter.
Well, no, because he doesn't stand for the things you say he does. He wants to use it as his platform, not 50-50.
Okay, maybe you're right. I don't know much about Twitter, man. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe he's abusing Twitter. I haven't really seen anything that makes me feel that way. What I've seen...
But you don't go on Twitter, so you wouldn't know.
No, exactly. So I don't really go on Twitter. Yeah. I personally haven't really seen anything that makes me feel like...
But if you never go on it, you can't possibly speculate.
That's silly. You're saying... firstly, I do go on it sometimes. I'm saying I don't... it's not one of the ones I use a lot. But from what I've seen, from the memes I've seen, from the YouTube videos talking about Twitter or talking about Elon that I've seen, I'm like, cool, yep, all right. So far, I'm really not very invested in this whole X Twitter thing. It seems like a distraction, but okay, I think he's got a plan. It kind of makes sense. Yep, all right, cool, good. I guess we'll see what happens, you know? Like, I'm not invested one way or the other on Twitter.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll just have to table that. We'll just have to wait and see what else Elon does. I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about by the next time, even if it's only a week. By the next time we have a podcast, we'll have plenty to talk about with Elon. You know, maybe he'll pick up another video game or ketamine addiction or whatever else that he's doing at the moment.
There will be some piece of his private life in the headlines, I'm sure, no matter what. The world is very interested in every time he farts or coughs, and we hear about everything he does. So there will definitely be more Elon Musk news. Well, this episode is called Daddy Musk, by the way.
And we've certainly paid tribute to that.
Okay, cool. So look, we've had our opinions on Musk. That's bloody good. We've talked about the table read. Now, Vegas was great. I went over there with the intention of trying to raise some funding for new followers for our film. I went over there. I had a bunch of really solid meetings. I had quite a lot of meetings lined up with like influential people that could potentially invest if they wanted to, and or offer us the letters of intent that we needed. We need certain things when we were applying to the Film Commission for funding. And so my objective was to get those things. It went really well. We have received one letter of intent to distribute, which is a good place to start, but there's a few that I'm still waiting to hear from. So yeah, we'll see how we go, but it went really well. And now I'm thinking about going to Film Art, which is a Hong Kong film market, because when I was at AFM, the American Film Market in Vegas, I was offered a free ticket to the Hong Kong film market in March. And so that's worth about 600 and something Kiwi dollars. And so I was like, cool, well, sounds like a pretty good opportunity. I'd still have to pay for my own flights. So what I'm doing is I'm applying to the Film Commission for the Producer International Travel Grant. And the idea is to go over there and see if I can, raise this funding or these letters that we need and stuff. And our dear friend, Bernie Rao, shout out Bernie. He is a 5150 listener. Not sure if he's listening at the moment, but Bernie actually got funding for a few of his films from the Hong Kong film market, Film Art. So yeah, I'm hoping that the Film Commission will help me get over there. If they don't, I'm pretty tempted to go anyway, just for a week or so, and attend this film market and see if we can try and raise some funding for the feature for new followers. So yeah, that's about where we're at with Hong Kong and Vegas.
Yeah, well, it'd be good to see someone want to give us some money for that.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a meeting next week with a producer that can potentially help us, but who knows, long shot. And so, yeah, there's that. Film Art, hopefully we get it. What else we got? I thought I had a new job. I did a job interview. I told you about it the other day. It was a job interview for a rugby-related live streaming job, and I had everything they needed. I was like the ideal candidate in terms of what they needed. And I had a great interview meeting with them. It went really well. I basically hung up the phone and I was like, yeah, that job's absolutely mine, especially because there was 3 jobs going. It wasn't just one job. There was 3 jobs. I was like, sure, maybe I'm not their number 1, but I'm definitely in their top 3. Definitely in the top 3. Well, I can confirm I am not in their top 3. I did not get that job. So that's good. And then the other piece of news is She Who Shall Be Named, my girlfriend, She Who Shall Be Named, she was on the shortlist for Day One Shorts, which is $20,000 to produce a short film. And so we applied, or I don't know, Did you apply for day one? So I applied with a couple of projects for day one and didn't get it. I was rejected in the first round, but my girlfriend got to the second round, and so then had to put in a bunch of extra work and keep on refining the thing and the application and resubmit it and all of that stuff. Well, the update is didn't get it. She did not get it. So disappointing.
Welcome to the film industry.
Yeah, welcome to the film biz, kid. 99% rejection. Same with acting. And speaking of acting, there was a rumor recently that Shortland Street was thinking of rebranding to be Short Bald Street. And they were going to cast me. I was on the list. They were like, "Are you available and keen?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm available and keen." And
available and bald.
I'm available, bald and keen. Short Bald Street. And then sadly, I got the email just as we started this show. Right as we started this show, I got the email from them saying that they've opted to go with somebody else, that they like me, but that they're going to politely decline this time.
You didn't have to send in an audition for this one.
No, it was based off an older self-tape that I'd already sent. Yeah. Not that long ago, I sent in a self-tape with our dear friend Joss. So it was just a general casting call, not for a specific role. And I did a self-tape, sent it in. It's on file now. And they know who I am. They've seen a bunch of auditions from me in the past, but I've never got on there. And the thing about New Zealand, the New Zealand film and TV industry, is if you're an actor in New Zealand and you haven't been on Shortland Street,
it's embarrassing.
Then who the fuck even are you?
It's very embarrassing.
It's extremely embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing. It's like the first rung on the ladder.
It's like where people go to do bad acting. So as an actor, and you can't even get in the room to do some bad acting on it, bruh.
Yeah.
Which is, and we should talk about this actually, because Shortland Street is like this long, painfully long-running show in New Zealand.
Well, I'm not. You might be breaking some exclusive news here on the.
Well, not really, podcast. Because it's only rumor and innuendo.
Yeah,
you know, it's only speculation, right?
Yeah.
But you know, Shortland Street.
We know a few insiders.
Yeah, we do know some industry insiders, and it. I mean, really, the media landscape, the New Zealand media landscape, is imploding as we speak. But everyone doesn't really want to talk about that, except us, the hard hitters over here.
Yeah, the Guy and Harley podcast.
The hard hitters. And, you know, it's been going on for like literally a decade, over a decade. It's been going on since internet got fast enough to kind of create the streaming environment. It's been going on since we've managed to have access to basically the international waters of entertainment. Mm-hmm. So it's been going for a long time, but we here in New Zealand didn't want to believe it. We didn't want to believe it was happening. We didn't want to know it was coming. We didn't want to know about this thing called YouTube. And I was having a chat. Well, no, I was having a chat with a friend of ours, and I was like, Harley and I were like on the bleeding edge at one point of
fucking pioneers.
We really were.
2006.
Like, we were pitching YouTube series. We were pitching just all internet stuff. We were talking about running a parallel web series along with a TV series to get interest in the TV series. We had ideas about Pick a Path like they did in Bandersnatch. We pitched all this shit, and guess what? They were like, "What do you want to? This is a TV. Yeah. What do you mean YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the YouTube is not really a thing.
Yeah.
There was just so much, and even when it comes to movies, we're like, this is a streaming movie. We don't want to release it in cinemas. Oh, well, it's not a movie then.
Yeah.
You can't have access to the same funding pool because it's not a real movie. Cool. Well, you go ahead and tell that to fucking Tom fucking Hanks and his latest film that went straight to streaming. And this is the problem that we have here. But anyway, we've had our head buried in the sand, and we just refuse to take it out, and we refuse to kind of put in place the things that might give us a little bit of market share and like establish New Zealanders into habits of, say, watching TVNZ on demand and watching our sort of digital versions of Netflix. But we just took too long, we implemented them too poorly, and then we essentially fed them shit. You know, like, here's an ad every 30 seconds like it's a real TV show. Oh, well, cool, I'll just go to Netflix then. I don't have to worry about ads anymore. I'll buy YouTube Premium. I don't have to, you know, like, there's just a lot of not really thinking through this stuff. And now we're trying to make TikTok series. We're trying to do all that stuff. But the ship has definitely sailed in terms of like how the fuck our TV industry is going to survive, because why would you pay for an ad on television now?
Exactly. And so how's this relevant to Shortland Street?
And Shortland Street is a show that literally unfortunately one of our most successful shows, one of our most popular shows, a soap opera in the vein of Days of Our Lives or Neighbours or
meets like
Coronation Street,
but combined with like House and Scrubs.
I mean, that's giving it a lot of credit. It's set around a hospital, which I guess is on Shortland Street. Like the hospital is on it's Shortland Street Hospital, is it?
It is called Shortland Street Hospital. Do you know why it's called Shortland Street?
Because they looked out the thing and they're like, we're on Shortland Street.
Basically, but that's not where they filmed it. What happened was the production company was based on Shortland Street. They had a top secret to do, and Shortland Street's a street in the Auckland CBD. It's that really steep one.
So they called it like Project Shortland Street.
Yeah, there was another company at the same time also doing pitching a hospital drama.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to like not give away that it was a hospital related thing. So they just called it Shortland Street. And then for some reason it stuck.
Yeah, and anyway, it's been around a long time, and it used to be something that we all, and this is how fucked up everything is, like that I'm even talking about this, but we all used to tune in at 7 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. on when we had 3 channels in New Zealand, and you're forced to watch it.
Yeah,
you're
even
forced,
2 channels.
You're forced. You don't get any soup unless you eat your fucking meat, right? And that is what Shortland Street is. So you fucking eat it right now. And unfortunately, that's what we did for 30 years. But of course, now the audience is fractured. No one gives a shit. No one's going on TVNZ on demand.
Okay, and how is this relevant to Shortland Street?
I'm getting there. Shortland Street ratings have essentially been on a steep decline over the course of the last, say, 5 years. Maybe longer. So it used to be something that the whole nation used to tune into. And if you were on Shortland Street, people would go, hey, it's the Shortland Street Stroker.
He's the Shortland Street Stroker.
Jerk one off over this, mate. And now, I'm not saying that people aren't recognized on Shortland Street, because they are. But it's not in the cultural zeitgeist the way it was. And you're much likely to say, hey, I was on Shortland Street for a 10-week arc. And they go, oh, I missed that one. Sorry, I didn't know anything about it.
Didn't hear about it.
And so ultimately, Shortland Street, without ratings and without advertisers, has to go the way of the dodo.
And so rumor has it
that it will be perhaps midway through this year.
Yeah, so I've got like 6 months to get on that show if I want to be part of the Shortland Street alumni.
You got more like 4 months probably, because they're a couple of months ahead.
And this was my chance.
Yeah.
This was it. This was my chance.
And this has been Harley's dream for 30 years.
I like, basically, if you're a New Zealand actor, you haven't been on Shortland Street, who even are you? So it's like, I've got to get on. If I want to be taken seriously as an actor in New Zealand, I absolutely must get on Shortland Street. And so this 3 days of work that I just missed out on, that was it. That was my chance.
It could have been.
And this was a role as well that I would have been happy to play. Like the previous role that I was on the shortlist was, some of the long-time 5150 listeners will know, was the Shortland Street Stroker, who would masturbate while looking at the nurses. He'd masturbate under the blanket while looking at the nurses. And so I was going to be known forever as the Shortland Street Stroker, like, like people would be like, hey, it's the way, so I didn't really want that one, and I didn't get it. And now this one I did want, didn't get it. So what am I going to do? But
now you'd be grateful to be the Shortland Street Stroker.
If I had the choice between being the Shortland Street Stroker or not, I'd choose to be. But to be honest, I chose to be at that time as well. Like I said yes, I said I was available, I said I was keen. They just didn't choose me. But I was relieved, I was relieved. So yeah, I was relieved I didn't get it, but I would have played it. It would have been funny. Like if you ask me, that is the perfect version of the project. Our web series, which you kind of referred to earlier in a way, our web series about like us. We've got this parallel web series which we did years ago called The Project. It's on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Pigville and the number 2. And it's called The Project, and it's awesome. It still stands up. It stood up to the test of time, and it kind of runs parallel to our lives and kind of takes things that really happened and exaggerates them in some way. And this would be the perfect way. It's a mockumentary. This would be the perfect way. This would be perfect for the project. I finally get on Shortland Street, and it's as the Shortland Street Stroker, an absolutely irredeemable character who could never have any chance of ever coming back. It's a one shot and you're done kind of role, and people on the street harass me and go, woo, like, you know, the wanker. So yeah, that would be the perfect version for the project.
Well, also just to add to that, the idea that you went in and auditioned for it, and then you didn't get it, but then you sent in disgusting hairy man to prove that you could masturbate furiously
on camera
in an incredibly convincing way.
This is a deep dive now. Our very first video on YouTube, disgusting hairy man. Go and have a look at it.
First viral video. Yeah.
First viral hit. It was the first video we ever posted. Disgusting Hairy Man by Pigville with the number 2, Pigville 2. Yeah, go look it up. You might have to sign in to watch it.
Yeah, so, you know, and that would gave you the true in of this art piece you created many years earlier.
Couple of quick shout outs. Nocturnal, aka Sam Wheeler, he's on the live stream. Thanks for tuning in, mate. He's been commenting away. And also Kiwi Jezza. Until now, I actually thought Harley's support for Musk was a bit. And I don't know what he says, full stop. But shout out to Kiwi Jezza. Until now, I actually thought Harley's support for Musk was a bit, full stop. What do you mean, like just a little bit? Like I just kind of supported him? I do just kind of support him. I mean, it's not something I'm like, you know, it's not a hill I'm willing to die on.
Well, you have become a full-on Musk apologist
I haven't.
over the course of this podcast.
To you my opinion. I've just given you my opinion.
This
is just what I've seen and why I think the way I think. If new information comes along, I will have to change my mind. I've got no choice. But I'm not a fucking acolyte, a Trump acolyte. I'm yet to see something that I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm done with him. That's it. I'm not done with him.
I mean, we just haven't read enough.
I've read
about
a lot.
him. You read his autobiography.
No, I've read that, but I've watched a million videos from pro and anti-Trump. Musk. Like I've seen a lot of content. Like this is something I've been following since like 2018 when I first started investing.
Yeah, maybe you need to do a little bit less investing, a little bit more investigating.
No, I've done plenty of investigating, mate. I clearly know more about the topic than you, per our conversation. Yeah, so it's like plenty of investigating has been done, and this is my opinion. You know, and it's like you don't have to believe me. That's fine. You take your opinion, but you know, mine's pretty solid. It's based on like sensible, you know, things I've read. It's not like I'm just, I really want it to be true. It's like, no, okay, all right, fair. Look, if something changes, I'll let you guys know. But for now, I'm okay with him. And I've explained why.
But like, just to very briefly touch back on like, for instance, the idea of I get into a party with someone who is my direct opposition ideologically, right? Because the other party won't let me do, the party that agrees with my ideology won't let me do stuff quick enough and most profitably enough.
Mostly right, except for you might as well take out the profitable bit part, because that is what I'm saying is that they're not doing it quick enough for his ideology. The profit is just a step along the way. He's got plenty of money. It's the ideology. So it's like, cool. So they won't let him do it quick enough to get to his ideological goal, which is sustainable energy for all of humanity and into making the species interplanetary. So these are both goals I like, that I agree with.
But that's a pretty crazy speculation on Musk's behalf.
He's a crazy dude.
Yeah. Maybe dumb. Maybe he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Maybe.
Dumb.
Maybe. I guess time will tell. I know that what I've seen is that he's set objectives and then achieved them time and time and time again, which suggests to me that he's not dumb and that he's actually really good at getting results.
Except Twitter.
if you want, okay, if you want to talk about Twitter, that's
his
fine.
latest thing.
If you want, I mean, like Twitter is a side project. I think in the long run it'll all work out. But whatever, like, sure, okay, maybe he's wrong about Twitter. Like I said, I don't support everything he's done. I don't understand everything he's done. I can only form my opinion on the things I'm knowledgeable on.
Yeah, that's a pretty big asterisk on that point.
Which point?
Purely assuming that the political party that is working, that you're with, that you got in or helped get in, that's working directly against your
him, he's gambling.
ideals.
It's a big gamble.
Somehow the damage that they do as a party in the 4
Yeah, man, I get
years,
it. I get it. We get it. Like, I understand. We've been through this.
Is somehow going to be mitigated by the choices you make.
But that's the gamble that he's taking, and it's like in this Game of Thrones, who are you going to follow?
Or
who are you going to follow? And it's like, okay, cool. That's the move he decided to make.
Or he's not taking that gamble.
Let's see what happens.
Or he's not taking that gamble.
What gamble was he not taking?
He's not taking that gamble at all because he doesn't ideologically care about that thing.
Again, like,
and he does but he does care about making money as fast as possible.
Cool. Well, there you go. So that's our opinions. Guy thinks that the principal motivation is basically money and presumably power.
And power.
Yeah, money and power. Cool. That's fair. A lot of people think that. I think that he's ideologically driven, and it will be interesting to see what happens.
I don't think it will be interesting to see what happens. Because if a lot of bad things happen, that won't be interesting. That will just be bad.
Just be horrible, yeah. Well, look, I mean, we can't control any of that. All we can do is look on and give our opinions. And
we can do one thing.
Far,
we can do one thing.
What?
We could not invest in Tesla.
But I believe in Tesla. I believe in Tesla, so you've got Tesla and you've got Musk, right? So they're two separate entities. Tesla is a company run by a board of directors and a bunch of really smart engineers making cutting edge technology that is hurrying humanity towards sustainable energy, all of which I agree with. And I think that in the future, they're only going to get bigger and better, and they're going to achieve more and more and more. So I'm investing in Tesla. I'm not investing in Elon. I'm not investing directly in Elon. I'm not invested in Twitter or SpaceX. I'm invested in Tesla, this really good car company with the best technology, with the best manufacturing systems that makes cars for the cheapest and for the most profit, who are also ideologically aligned with what I want, which is a clean green future with these battery-powered cars, with these recyclable batteries, cruising past, getting us from A to B for very, very cheap.
But it is also the source of Elon's wealth and power.
It's one of them, but the
primary source.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it must be, right? It must be more than SpaceX and the Boring Company and Neuralink and all his Bitcoin and all the other stuff that he's got. It probably is his largest source of wealth, is his shares in Tesla. But again, I'm not against Elon. I like his ideology. So I'm not. If I wanted to hurt Elon, yeah, sure, I could sell my stock. But I don't want to hurt Elon. I'm currently in agreement with him. I'm like, yeah, man, let's get. Let's go to Mars. Let's go to Mars. Let's get humanity to sustainable energy as fast as possible. And let's go from there. Right? I agree with these things. So at the moment, that's what he's doing. In the future, things might change. I'm not responsible for that.
Well, in the moment, he's doing the opposite of one of those things.
Only you're talking about as in because he has to get in bed with Trump. But
yes,
for the mining and stuff, I get it. But we've already had that conversation where I explained to you that he had the choice of going the slow way with the Democrats or the fast way with the
But it's
Republicans.
not fast to his goals.
But it is because it's going to get him. No, it's going to get his cars. It's going to advance his full self-driving. It's going to advance a bunch of things by having, this is not rocket science, but having a government that is friendly towards you is going to be better than having a government which is not friendly towards you when one of your next big goals is to get full self-driving approved, right? So that's one of his big things is he needs to get full self-driving, proper cybercabs approved. And that's not going to, it's going to be slower with the Democrats than it is with the Republicans. So that's why he's doing it.
Okay.
So wait, let me finish. So the point is that whether or not it works, whether or not you agree with him, that's the decision that he made in that Game of Thrones, that's what he decided to do. Now we are watching him. I don't know what's going to happen.
We are watching him.
This could all be a big fuck up. I don't know. I don't know. So far, so good.
We are watching him and saying ethically, this is probably wrong.
If you say so, but I don't think it's ethically wrong, because what he's doing is he's cutting these agencies in order to make them more efficient and save American taxpayers trillions of dollars.
If it's slower,
if it works, good.
So, like for instance, Elon Musk's shares are dependent on the perception of Tesla, the car company, and their advancements in the technology that they have decided to invest in and do, right? Now, one of these is self-driving cars, but we don't have safe self-driving cars yet. And what you're talking about is cutting red tape to get to self-driving cars faster, but the red tape might be the safety precautions
Cool. Well, I've got some news for you, and you'll be happy to hear it.
You don't you don't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. The eggs being human beings in self-driving cars.
No, nothing like that. What it is that the cars do already exist. Not Tesla. Waymo has already got self-driving cars. They're out there. They're driving in America.
Yes.
So this is
but not
been
well.
done. No, they're fine.
No, they're not fine.
No, guy, they are. They're just fine. Like compared to a human driver, they're just fine. They have less crashes per mile driven than a human driver.
But
because humans are emotional.
But that's also partly because
all of that stuff.
As I understand it, they don't have to report on all of the crashes.
You tell me, mate, that that's speculation.
But
you would hear about
maybe
it on YouTube.
Completely incorrect.
You would hear about it all on YouTube. Like obviously, as soon as a Waymo crashes into something, somebody's going to be filming it, and it's going to be a big scandal. It's happened with Cruise. Cruise did one, and they're not around
It's happened with
anymore.
Tesla.
No,
it's happened with Tesla.
Tesla hasn't launched it yet. Tesla hasn't launched it yet.
Their cars in self-driving mode have caused accidents and killed people.
But the thing about the self-driving mode is you got to remember we're talking about two separate things here. So you've got full self-driving, the real full self-driving, which is what Waymo,
partial self-driving,
which is what Waymo is doing. Okay, so Waymo is doing the real full self-driving. It's driving around. Okay, Tesla has not launched that. It does not exist. What Tesla has launched is full self-driving, autopilot, exactly. And so it's like basically you need to be there. You need to be paying attention. At no point does it say you can just leave this car to drive you from A to B. It does not say that. You need to be there. And in fact, if you're not paying attention, it will like wake you up. It'll do an alarm. It'll do something to make sure your eyes are on the road, your hands are on the wheel. Right? So it's like you're talking about so it's not true. So you're talking about like people have failed at driving, which they do all the time, and they do so more commonly with normal driving, with normal cars, full manual cars that they're in charge of. It happens all the time. People get drunk, people get angry, people get sad, people are fucking around with their friends, whatever. Stuff happens. They're in a rush. Like people dying all the time on the roads. The self-driving cars are going to be a lot safer, and Tesla hasn't released their self-driving car until they have got the stats up so high that they can say to the regulatory bodies, hey, look, a human crashes once every 100,000 miles, but our software crashes once every 1,000,000 miles. So therefore, it's 10 times safer. You would be making a mistake to let humans continue driving. That's 10 dead humans per dead human, 10 dead self-driving humans versus 10 dead manual driving humans for every one dead self-driving human, right? So it's an unfortunate equation, but what do you do? So full self-driving has not been released yet. What was your point about full self-driving? You said that. So you said that there is no full self-driving. There is full self-driving. It does exist. It's already out there, and they're not going to try and launch it. There's no worry about like cutting red tape because they're not going to launch it until they've got the stats to prove that they are safer than a human driver. That's why they haven't released it. So basically, when they release the stats, what they want to do is in Austin this year, in 2025 in Austin, they want to release finally the actual full self-driving cyber cabs. But before they do that, they've got to get the approval. And the way to get the approval is to prove to the regulatory bodies that you've got safer per mile driven than a normal human, which they will do before they can do that.
or the regulations will be adjusted for them to not have to do that, and they'll do it.
Sure, like that's if you want to, like, yeah, maybe because he's mates with Trump, and then Trump just goes like cut, snip, snip. Maybe it's speculation. I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it's quite that easy. I think that the regulatory bodies in place. It's like the auto. I can't remember what it's called now, but there's like a regulatory body in America that is in charge of keeping cars safe, and they don't necessarily want to give Musk what he wants, because he's in there to hack and slash a bunch of government jobs. They probably don't want him. They're probably not on his side. And yet, if the stats add up, then, full self-driving will be approved. So, yeah.
Alrighty, well, guess we'll see.
We'll definitely see. At the moment, I'm happy with how everything's going. I think that
in America,
in this, obviously, I think it's crazy that Trump's in. I think that it's crazy that Musk is involved in any way, shape, or form. I think it's all fucking nuts. But what I mean is, as somebody who can't control anything about it, who's just observing, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, look, I would rather it be Elon Musk there than, Bezos or Zuckerberg.
But what about just a guy that knows what they're doing?
Sure. I mean, that's the American government's problem, right? Like, I don't delve into, like, I don't have an opinion on that. You know what I mean? Like, if they get the person qualified for the job to do it, great.
Well, so I think it's just could be very easily stated that Musk is 100% not the qualified person to do it.
I mean, if you say so, the retort would be that he's...
Tech billionaires know everything.
No, that he's run a bunch of businesses, and so therefore he is in successful businesses, therefore he is in a position to advise the government, in his opinion, on what they should do to be more efficient. Given that one of his main things when he goes into a new company is he makes it really, really super efficient. That's how he got so successful. So he's going to apply that same logic to government in an advisory role. Now, the jury's out. We don't know if it's going to work. We have no idea if it's going to work. It might work. I would argue that, yeah, sounds great. He's quite qualified for that. He's already done it a bunch of times. He's an advisor. He's not cutting people. He's not quitting jobs himself. He's not firing people himself. He's going in there and going like, cool, here's what I think. I looked at
fire.
Yeah, I looked at this department here. They're spending, this is where the money's going. It's an audit. That's why they need access to the treasury system, right? So we've spent this amount of money on this and this and this and this and this and this and this. The primary objective of this organization is this. And I think that these things do not align with the primary objective of this organization. Based on his opinion and
unqualified opinion.
If you say so, so he should. That's his suggestion. Now, whether the government, who are qualified, whether they then take that information and use it, or where if they don't use it, that's on the government, and it's up to the government. He's in an advisory role. So,
yeah, right. And if he gives them consistently bad advice,
that's up to the government. There's so many advisors that work for the government. There's a million advisors that work for the government who are not government employees.
But if he has been commissioned for this one function, then they're going to take his advice.
That's not guaranteed. That's absolutely not guaranteed. Trump is a total wild card. He doesn't have to agree with everything that Musk says. But he won't. He'll deliberately not agree with some things, I'm sure, just to assert his dominance. You know what I mean? Like, there's a million reasons why it might not happen, but ultimately the decision is going to be on the American government to make these decisions. And they're just another advisory body who comes in, has a look, says, this is our observation, this is what we think you should do. Now, could he be corrupt, and could he be maleficent, whatever? Could he have bad intentions? Absolutely. Like, cool, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know. So far, I haven't seen that from him. But yeah, I mean, he's just an advisor. It's like, it's not a big deal. Like, there's literally thousands of government advisor companies that their job is to come in and to advise on things such as efficiency.
Not at that high level, though.
Absolutely. It's new, man. What we're looking at is something crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Trump is literally the president. Donald fucking Trump, the reality TV star, is the president. Yep. Like, we live in a crazy, unprecedented time. All of this is new. No doubt about it. We're not discussing that. What we're discussing is our opinions on, what's happening.
Whether it's right or not.
Exactly. And I've given my quite educated opinion.
No, it's not. Educated opinion on Elon Musk's ability to advise on your educated opinion.
The whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, because you have been part of all these different government bodies.
No. What I mean is that I know more about the topic, though, as in this is something I've been following. I've been following Elon Musk and Tesla for literally 7-8 years
not
now.
The government.
Okay, sure, but this is the topic we're talking about. It's all related.
Well, no,
and I'm
we're
giving
not
you my opinions.
Talking about we might be talking about as it relates to how he will leverage it to benefit Tesla. But other than that, Tesla's got nothing to do with his functions in fucking government.
Okay.
So then it's not a qualified. You're completely unqualified.
I'm more qualified than you, though, in the sense that I've read the book.
You know more about Tesla, and you've read Elon Musk's autobiography.
Elon. I've been following this. Not just that. I've been following this story for like 8 years. Right? Can you say that?
That I've been following Elon Musk
closely,
for 8 years.
Yeah, like not just following him like on Twitter. I'm talking about like this story as in I'm invested in it, right? I started investing all those years ago. And so as a result, I've got a lot more information because I'm financially motivated to find out what's going on.
On Tesla?
On the whole, everything that's going on. Like obviously Tesla is kind of the primary subject, but like I'm learning a lot about all the other things around it, right? And I have been for a long, long time. Yeah. And so it's like this is my opinion, which the listeners and you can take or leave. But maybe you could be like, oh, cool. He probably does know a little bit more about it than.
Well, no, you don't know shit about governmental policy or.
I'm not talking about governmental policy.
But that's what Elon's doing.
And I've learned lots about governmental policy since becoming interested in investing. But it's still like, yeah, okay, sure. I'm not trying to pretend I'm some sort of expert. I'm saying that he's an advisor who's coming in.
But you don't know anything about the Twitter thing.
But who cares? He's an advisor who's coming in.
But you meant to know everything about Elon Musk.
I didn't say that. You just put those words in my mouth.
You put those words in your own mouth.
You just put those words on my mouth.
You just said you've been following Elon Musk closely.
Which is fair, right?
No, because you don't know anything about Twitter.
Oh, okay. I know some stuff about Twitter, but that's an irrelevant little side thing. But okay, sure.
It's not.
Congratulations,
it costs $44 billion.
I told you, man, of his money. I told you. Yeah. I told you, guy, that you get the point for Tesla, for Twitter. If there's a point there, you get it. It's yours. I told them. Right? Okay. I'm not really following the Twitter thing. But
if a lot of Musk's behavior comes out in Twitter and you don't follow Twitter, then you don't know fuck all about Elon Musk anymore.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I mean, there's plenty of other websites that are not Twitter. Like, I'm on Twitter for a start. But I also watch, like, daily videos related to investing. And inevitably Tesla and Elon Musk and what's going on with him, they are a big part of it because they directly affect the stock price. So I'm very up to date with what's going on. I have
But you didn't know anything about the whole gamer thing.
No, I've heard about it. I haven't looked into it. So the guy, no, but I don't care, guy. This is irrelevant to anything, right?
But
so he's
Elon
playing
Musk
video games. Who gives a shit?
No, he's lying about playing video games.
Cool. Whatever, like if that's what you want to, the nitty gritty, you want to get like delve into that. That's all cool, man.
Why?
But it's not really like hugely important in this conversation.
It might be hugely important though if it informs a compromise of what Elon Musk's character is about now. What he thinks. He thinks, for instance, he thinks it's easy to trick the world into believing he's good at a game, and his ego is such that he feels that is important to him. Okay, so that is the kind of decisions that this man makes. What other decisions, based on that ego, based on the idea that he thinks everyone's that dumb, like he thinks the whole world's that dumb apart from him, will he make, and will they be good decisions?
Time will tell, my friend. I don't really know. What I do know is that he's made a lot of really great decisions that have led to humanity being more sustainable and spaceborne. And so for these reasons, I think, no, he makes mistakes. And if you want to point to Twitter and say, that's a mistake, cool, that's fine, that's a mistake. You want to point to a tweet or an appearance or anything that he's done, and you want to say it's a mistake, absolutely, that's fine. If you think it's a mistake. Sometimes I have an opinion like, oh no, I don't think it's a mistake because this is why. Twitter, the jury's out on Twitter. This seems like a big distraction to me, but okay, I guess we'll see. I kind of see where he's coming from. Let's see how we go. I don't have a really strong opinion on Twitter, but overall, that doesn't mean I don't know what's going on just because I don't have a strong opinion on what he's doing with Twitter. I don't. I'm not that interested in that part of this whole story.
But if he
know plenty about what's going on.
But if he makes a lot of his moves
and I've been giving
Twitter,
these opinions. Yeah, but I hear about them.
And he does a lot of his interviews on Twitter.
I hear about the stuff on YouTube. If every time he farts or cough, it's on YouTube, right? It's like I follow YouTube stuff and I'm on Twitter. I do see some tweets. I do follow him on Twitter, but I don't check Twitter very often. And it's like, yeah, overall, this is my opinion. I think. And I don't think it's, you don't need to get defensive. I don't think it's rude to say it's my educated opinion because I've been learning about it for 7 or 8 years. It's like, okay, cool. This is what I think is going on. And I have read more about it than you. I have learned more about it than you from all different sides, not just the Elon propaganda. Like I've watched daily videos on these topics. And so it's like, these are my opinions. You and the listeners can take them. You can leave them. It's really up to you.
Yeah, I guess we can.
Yeah.
But it also seems like you're a guy that has really dug in.
If you say so, but I actually feel like I'm quite happy to change my tune.
You've never ever changed your tune on this podcast ever.
Well, that's because I'm yet to see something. As I've just explained, I'm yet to see something that I have a problem with. And I've just explained to you why I don't have a problem with the things that you have a problem with. Okay.
Well,
that's
a lot
why
of
it comes
these,
back to the listeners.
but a lot of these things,
you
you explained that you didn't have a problem. You didn't explain why these things weren't a problem. You just said stuff like, it's Game of Thrones, man. We're living in crazy times,
no, but
man.
You're asking me to explain the political machinations of people half a world away.
He's just autistic, man.
It's like I don't know all of these answers for you. I'm sorry, man.
It's ego over profit, except he needs profit, but it's not about profit.
Well, yeah, it's ideology over profit, but the profit helps to further the ideology, obviously.
But it doesn't further. It is fundamental and a requirement to further the ideology.
Okay, that's you're not like I didn't not say that like at any point.
Well,
like,
before you said
really
he's got enough.
On this idea that he's making money. It's like
because money informs the decisions he makes.
Yes, guy, but your bigger picture, mate. He's got enough money. What's his real motivation?
He doesn't have enough money.
What's his real motivation? It's the ideology, and then the money is a way to get to that goal. Okay,
but the money has to come first.
That's
no,
fine.
he can't skip the money.
Yes, but we're in agreement here, guy. Him going into the government is a big move that he's made in this Game of Thrones. He's made this big move. We are observing. We don't know what's going to happen. He has made this big move that will get money for sure, and that money, why does he need it? It's not for his personal gain. It's for his ideological goal. He's ideologically driven. Okay, so the money is just an irrelevant, little step. You need it, absolutely. It's very important, but it's not what you should be focusing on. It's not his motivation. It's not the catalyst, the true reason why he's doing it. The reason why he's doing it is for his ideology.
But if all of his ideology,
he needs money to do the ideology.
Yes, so it comes before the ideology.
In terms
and in
of
order
steps,
of importance,
guy, that's how steps work.
Yeah.
You take one step, then you take another step. That's one step. One step is
so
he needs to have enough money.
Being the most important thing to further all of his ideologies.
Not the most important.
It is the most important.
It's not the most important. He's already got a sustainable business model
but he
for
doesn't
space
have
and Tesla.
No, he doesn't have a sustainable business model to send people into Mars in his lifetime.
But he's growing that by being the primary
But growing his profit is money, man. Just fucking admit that.
Okay, guy. He needs money to reach his ideology.
Exactly.
We're saying
the money
thing.
has to come first, not his ideology.
Okay.
Therefore, the decisions he makes have to be money-minded decisions, not ideological decisions.
And then what does he do with the money?
We don't know.
He chases the ideology, which is the real point behind it all. It's just a step. It's just a step in the way. So this whole Trump thing is a big gamble that he's doing. It's a big move, right? And we're all witnessing it. And it might work. It might not work. We don't know, okay? But he is ideologically driven. And when you know that, when you realize that, his actions start making more sense. You're like, oh, okay. I'm not talking about the Nazi salute, by the way. That doesn't make any sense to me. What I'm talking about here is his actions of like getting involved with Trump and, Doge and all of this stuff. He's making a big power move and seeing if it works. But he's a gambler. He's like in his book, it's sort of saying about how he's the writer is also always saying about how he has a really high tolerance for risk and he's a gambler. So that's a recurring theme in his career. Okay, and now he's trying it again. He's taken a big risk and he's a gambler. Like, I'm not saying that I agree with everything he does. I'm just saying that's what's happening. We're observing. Where are we now? This is my opinion, right? And it's like he's taking this big gamble with the objective of getting to Mars. The money is a stepping stone to Mars, but he does have plenty of money. He's got
but none of which will get him to Mars.
No, I don't know. You say that very confidently, but I don't know why you say that. Like, it's like
what?
He's got a space company that has multi-million-dollar contracts to take cargo from Earth to space. Yep. He also has Starlink, which he takes to space with his company SpaceX, which then provides a service to the whole globe that is not currently connected.
That's not and creating a colony on Mars, bro.
And that all makes lots and lots of money.
But all that money does not equal the cost of terraforming Mars.
He's not trying to terraform
and sending.
He's not trying to terraform it yet. Okay. What he's trying to do at the moment is send robots. No, not people, robots. Yeah. He wants to send robots to Mars first. Okay.
So why hasn't he done that now?
Because it's a huge technological achievement, and at first,
well, no, you can send robots to Mars now, right?
What he needs to do
is make enough money.
What he needs
for that to be viable.
What he needs to do is he needs to get Tesla up and running. He needs to get SpaceX up and running. Okay, once these things are up and running and are truly like,
I thought you just said they are up and running,
but more. They're taking a bigger market share and they're
making more money
and they're advancing their technology and all that type of thing.
And to advance technology, you need to make more money.
You're really focused on the money,
yes,
guy.
Because that's really the prime.
It's like you don't get it.
Well, no, you don't get it.
Money is just one of the steps along the way.
The first step.
The money is not the motivation.
The most important step.
He's already,
but it's the most important
taken multiple steps. He's multiple steps along the way already.
Yes, but
he's got a reusable rocket company.
Yeah.
Now, what he needs to do is he needs to grow those two companies, and over time, when the technology evolves, when everything evolves,
and the way to make
culture evolves, when everything evolves, he will eventually be able to get to Mars. That's the ambition. And it might happen or it might not happen. Yep. I don't know. But at the moment, he's taking this gamble of getting into bed with Trump. Now, let's see what happens. I don't know. What I do know is that if you want to understand him, always go back to his ideological motivation. Then you'll understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Except one of them is in contradiction to what he's doing.
Yeah, but we've been through this. We're going in a circle now. Now you're saying because Trump supports fossil fuels and him getting in bed with Trump. But I've already explained to you, and I can explain it to you again if you want. I've already explained it though, which is that he had the choice of going slow with the losing party, which was the Democrats, or he had the chance of jumping in bed with Trump. And that was his Game of Thrones move in this game. That's what he did. Okay, whether it's right or wrong, the jury's out. Like, I understand, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but it's not a point. It's not anything like that. It's like let's see what happens.
Well,
he's done that. That was his move. What do we do now? I don't know. Well, let's see. The gamble is that his technology will win out.
Will counteract
everything
that Trump is doing.
Exactly, by transitioning the world to sustainable energy with these really cheap battery packs and cars and solar panels and other things like that, where basically you reduce the need to mine fossil fuels because you mine battery ingredients once, rare earth minerals once, and then you recycle them above ground for decades and decades and decades because they're really recyclable, right? So he is taking, presumably, I'm speculating that he is taking that gamble. The gamble is that his companies will get humanity to sustainability and to Mars, even though for 4 years he has to get into bed with Trump, even though he might not be entirely ideologically aligned with him. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm seeing. And when I think of myself, I think, okay, what would I do? If I had the Democratic Party who does not support me, who have the big EV thing without me, they do not support me, they do not help in any way, even though I'm the biggest player in this game. Or I can go over here, who is not ideologically aligned with me.
Who doesn't believe in what I'm doing.
Who's not ideologically aligned with me, but he will help me get where I'm going quicker. Now, I have to decide, if I want to get to sustainable energy and space travel, which of these two paths is going to get me there quicker? Now, he decided...
He will help me build my cars quicker.
Listen, he decided
more profitably.
He decided to go for Trump. Now, that's up to him. Like, this is current affairs. This is the fucking bleeding edge of what's going on, right? Like, he went with Trump. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I wouldn't vote for Trump. I wouldn't vote for Trump. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is,
of course it's fucking wrong.
I can see where he's why he made that decision. If his ideological goal is this, I can see why he thought it would get him there quicker. Okay, so if it's going to get him there quicker,
despite it being a direct contradiction,
it's a gamble because he wants to get his batteries up and running and all that. So remember, it's a gamble. So yes, there's a risk. You're talking about the risk. You're not talking about the potential reward.
I'm talking about like the definites. We know Trump doesn't believe in climate change. We know that Trump doesn't support clean energy. We know that Trump is planning to mine all this shit, right? So that's a definite. That is an inarguable thing.
For sure, and we've been through this.
Right. Yeah. So, but then you're saying that, but if Elon gets enough more profit to make his batteries more faster...
I didn't say anything about profit.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah, that's a logical...
Yes, it's a logical thing. So if Elon
they've got to make money
makes more money and more profit enough to do all these things that don't exist currently now, but more money and power will allow, will maybe counteract the direct contradiction of the government he works for.
That is the gamble he has taken.
It's not a gamble.
It's a gamble, guy. It's a gamble. Or he's got a chance of success, and he is choosing to take that chance. Now, whether you agree with it or not, that's what this conversation's about.
Only if that's his gamble.
Yes, that's his gamble. That is his gamble.
Oh, no. His other gamble might be purely this.
I want to make money.
I want to go to Mars.
Okay.
I need more money.
Yeah. Yep.
This clean stuff, I don't really give a shit about.
Right.
And I know I'm actively hurting this choice.
All right, so that's your speculation, that actually he doesn't care about the environment, he just wants space. Fair enough. It's pure conjecture. There's no... like, he literally says... He's told us clearly what he wants to do. Now, you can either listen to him or ignore him. You can look at his actions or you can ignore his actions.
You can look at his actions.
Exactly. And you can
which
see
are
what
a direct contradiction to that.
See what he's done for the
But he
EV
hasn't...
industry.
But by voting Trump in...
No, this is a temporary short... We've just explained this, guy. We can't go in circles.
This is a short term... So do everything the opposite of your plan... short term, so in long term you don't do everything the opposite of your plan.
Correct, guy. Because
I'm just glad we got that figured out.
Because, guy, this is, you got to keep it in context of the Game of Thrones that they're playing.
Yeah.
Okay, they're
I get
playing
the Game
this
of Thrones.
game. Okay, so he has decided to make this move. Now, well, as said, we don't know what's going to happen next. What we do know is that's the move he's made. It might be wrong. It might be right. He had two options, the Democrats or the Republicans. He chose the Republicans. That was the gamble he took. Now let's see what happens. Now you and I, we vote left. We vote left. We don't agree. Okay, sure, man. Let's see what happens in a couple of years. Now we don't ideologically, we don't vote that way. You and I are both on the same side of the bird. You know, we're both left wing, right? So it's like, we don't necessarily agree with this, right? You and me both are like, okay, I would never get in bed with Trump. But when I see this and I see what he's done, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, what were his options? What move did he make? Okay, I can see why he made that move. All right, let's see what happens next. Right? That's where we're at.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we are seeing. No doubt.
So we will leave fucking Musk just there. It's a good chat. Overall, I think it's a good chat. Not too much crying. Now, Kiwi Jezza says, I would love to see you guys move past this and talk more about what's happened with you guys in the past 3 months. He said that 4 minutes ago. So let's see if he hung around for the next 4 minutes. Okay, and then Nocturnal replies, lots of great stuff happening with Pigville right now. I Survived a Zombie Holocaust is back under Pigville's control and on multiple online platforms such as Tubi, Amazon, etc. That's true. And Sam Wheeler, aka Nocturnal, has been making for us some really great little 1-minute highlight videos that we can use as promotional material on TikTok and so forth. We've got the vertical and we've got the horizontal. tool, and he's been going through and cutting out a few, hopefully viral clips, which we're going to start uploading. So thank you so much for that, Sam. And it's really great work. They're good stuff. They look really awesome. And so we're going to start posting those, and hopefully I Survived a Zombie Holocaust will go viral, but actually have the money coming back to the cast and crew and the team that made it, as opposed to some American sales agent somewhere who just took all the money and inflated their expenses and so forth. So yeah, maybe Guy, while I take a very quick piss, you could talk about I Survived a Zombie Holocaust and how it's now available. And
okay, well, we should wrap this up pretty soon, I think.
fair enough.
We should definitely wrap this up.
Well, you got to be somewhere.
Well, it's only 6 o'clock.
Yeah. I've got a live stream at 11 p.m.
But yeah, just quickly, the zombie film is out. So I Survived the Zombie Holocaust was our first feature film, which we made, was our first film, which was funded by the Film Commission, which was given funding in 2010. It was shot, I believe, at the start of 2011 in like sort of early, February maybe, for 5 or 6 weeks in 2011. It was not finished until 2014. Then it went on its sort of festival run for a while, and then it had its sort of official release in 2015. So 2015 was not quite a decade ago, because I think it was around mid-year 2015 that it came out. In fact, I know because I've got the poster, it says releasing May 22nd, and that would have been in 2015. Unfortunately, the deals we made for that film all benefited other people and not us. And we've been in a decade-long battle to try and extricate ourselves from that deal. And we've talked a lot about it on the podcast before. We've sort of gone into detail about sort of what happened there and some of the back and forths. But it's not a unique story. It's essentially the same story that's being told right now somewhere, somewhat. A group of young filmmakers have made
wide-eyed, enthusiastic filmmakers
have made their first thing, and they're super proud of it, and they want to get it out into the world, and they've got a lot of people interested. And those people that are interested are mainly sharks trying to take advantage of them. But because they're young filmmakers, they don't know how easy it is to be sort of taken advantage of. They don't understand the sort of deals they are making, and they're essentially signing the rights away to their film for very little in a deal structured that will never allow them to see any money from it. And that is where we found ourselves. And since then, we've been sort of trying to get out of it, trying to get the rights back. Some rights were in some territories were tied up, and it was all just a bit of a nightmare, total nightmare. But we finally managed to get not all the rights back, but most of the rights back, and now make it available streaming online, and essentially with a new distribution deal, but the distribution deal much more in favor of the filmmakers.
And if anybody wants to go and watch I Survived a Zombie Holocaust or rewatch I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, there is a link in the description below. It's the first one. It's right at the top. It's a Linktree link, which has all of the places you can watch Zombie Holocaust, including Tubi, which is free. You can go there. You can watch it for free on Tubi. It's on Foursome and
it's free on Foursome as well.
And Amazon Prime, but you've got to pay for it there.
Yeah.
But you're welcome to. And please, if you do buy it on Amazon Prime, please do give us a rating and a review. That would really, really help us. A good rating, preferably, and a review, because that would be really useful. We're not allowed to rate it and review it ourselves, and neither are any of the cast and crew. So basically, it's kind of hard to get the ball rolling on those reviews. So if all your listeners
decade
out
after
there,
the films originally come out,
but it's different
hard.
links now, right? Like
it's definitely. I mean,
is it the same reviews from 10 years ago? Like it's been taken down from wherever. So it's been taken down from Amazon, right?
I'm pretty sure that
from the previous people that put it up on Amazon.
I'm pretty sure
now
it's just re-linked to those old.
Right. So
but I'm not 100% sure.
There.
I see the reviews mainly on IMDb and Letterboxd and stuff like that, where you can review it.
Yeah, on IMDb, all you need, if you go to imdb.com, all you need is a Facebook account, and you can or a Google account, and you can sign in with like a few clicks, and then you'll have an account, and you can give us I Survived a Zombie Holocaust and all of our other productions, if you want, a rating and review, which would really help, especially Zombie Holocaust at the moment, though, because now's the time. Now's the time while it's hot and new and fresh back up.
So, yeah, in a perfect world, we need to re-spike the algorithm. Because that was the other thing, is like we had like heaps of great momentum around the time we made the film. And even as the film was coming out.
1 million views on the teaser on YouTube, 1 million views when we first made it.
We had 1 million people pirating it like daily.
Yeah.
For a while.
1 million a day. It sounds like a
lot. Maybe it was like 100,000 seeders.
Yeah.
Or leeches or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Basically it was like a lot of people were torrenting that.
Yeah.
And
now they've all seen it, and they don't want to watch it again on Tubi, where it would actually help us.
What's most heartbreaking is like people will torrent your review, torrent your film, and then write you a shit review. And it's like, bro, if you're gonna steal from me,
have some respect.
If you're gonna steal from me, at least have the common courtesy to write a good review.
I know.
Like. If you paid for it and you're like, I was ripped off, my hard-earned money, I hate this film, fair. Review it any way you want, but I feel like you're at an automatically good review if you're stealing the film that you watched, because otherwise it's just a double dose of you're
shitting on
you hurt the film twice.
You hurt us twice, and what did we ever do to you?
Yeah, just try to make something to.
We're just trying to entertain you. Sometimes we won't always make it perfectly, but we'll do our damn best.
And yeah, we certainly did. And in fact, I went and did a director's trim. This is the director's trim edition of Zombie Holocaust.
It's like 6 minutes shorter, is it?
Something like that.
6 minutes shorter. So if you've seen I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, this is the director's cut, which is now up. It's a 6 minutes shorter, snappier director's cut. Go give it a hoon.
Which is actually more like 17 minutes shorter than the highly pirated version.
Yeah. Which was already too long.
That was too long. We were like, hey, we've got a new edit. And essentially I was cock-blocked from providing that new edit. And then the my version got distributed in New Zealand and Australia and maybe like one or two other places. But fundamentally, the most broadly seen in America, where it was on cable and all that sort of stuff, it was all the longest cut, the sort of 108-minute cut, which was a bit baggy and just, and now we've got the new cut. And finally, after it's been torrented millions of times, people can watch the good one. But there you go. That's filmmaking.
So please do go and check that out. There's also a bunch of other good links down below. You can watch Older, our other film. You can watch Emmy the Vegan. You can watch all sorts of stuff down there. So all of that helps us. So if you've enjoyed the show, please do consider going and using those links because they all help us.
I was just saying we need like if you're on the stream or if you're in the comment section, you need to give a thumbs up or thumbs down to Musk support.
Yeah, well, you get a lot of thumbs down.
You need
the thing is, obviously it's brave to be, a front runner on this topic, because it's like
bold to be an idiot.
I'm exposing myself here to a bunch of hateful comments below saying that I'm a fascist, bootlicking Nazi because I don't see any problem yet with Musk's behavior and what he's doing. So it's like. Well, not to say that I endorse all of his behavior, but, we've explained all of this in the show. So it's like, look, I'm putting myself, at risk here. What do people think? You know, to be honest though, if you give us a thumbs down because you don't agree with my opinion, then that just fucks the video.
No, you have to comment thumbs up to Musk, thumbs down to Musk.
Right. So
you can't give a thumbs up.
Comment.
You can't do a thumbs down on the video or
no, that will fuck us. Yeah. So you have to like comment your opinion on Musk and how wrong I am or not. And that reminds me is like Kiwi Jezza said about that thing. He said earlier. Until now, I actually thought Harley's support of Musk was a bit. And what he means by that is a comedy bit, a comedic bit. I thought you were joking to troll people. Yeah.
You thought it was a troll?
Yeah. So he thought I was trolling.
Much like Musk does.
Yeah, but no, I've given my opinion. So far, so good. So far, so good. Let's see what happens. All right, we won't get back into Musk. We will say goodbye because it's been a 2-hour show and guys got stuff to do, presumably.
Got a lot of stuff to do.
I got something to do as well. And so we'll get the hell out of here. But thank you so much for watching. Use the links down below. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Guy and Harley podcast. GG. GG, Guy. GG.